eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
They're eating the cats.
Meow, 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 meow.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
People of Springfield, please don't eat my cats. Why would you?
We will continue to support Ukraine becoming a NATO member.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches in black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's destruction.
We will stand up every day and every way in favor of the export that the Ukrainian government has asked for.
Today I'm announcing more military assistance.
No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees, the war pigs crawling.
Test, 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 test.
Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.
Our role right from the outset of the Ukraine war should have been that of a peacemaker.
I want you to be the super spreaders of Ukraine. Super spreaders, let's go. We got a Trump rally in New York. Always fun to check in on the Donald. He's such a blast to watch speak. Like always teetering on the edge of total shit show. But message is always good in my books. The guy is good. I got in a really wild space, just totally by surprise. A mutual Twitter spacer invited me to join a space, and it was being run by this like ultra queenie LA drag queen type that had appeared on X Factor, and yeah, like kind of like a budding star of reality TV, but it didn't really work out. But was trying to still trying to get something going, get a YouTube channel going, and it was really interesting to listen to someone he was very got into Ukraine and history and Trump and setting him straight on a lot of stuff. So it's good to see open-minded people, but it's also really, really wild. I see ya. Yukon Steph, I see ya. There you are on the screen. Still really wild to peer into the mind of those that do fully absorb mainstream media, and, you know, and this guy's ready to, like, you know, fight for kind of truth and reasonable conversation, but fully believes January 6th was an organized coup d'etat, that Trump wants to end democracy in America. It's just wild to get in with someone, and it's really healthy to get in with someone who has these views. It's worth it. It's frustrating, but it's worth it. Anyway, let's see what Trump said. Let's get right to it. We'll see what Trump's up to. Then we'll go through a little bit of Twitter of the day, and then I'll premiere my latest little short, which is like a new experiment. Apple created a new app called Freeform with the last update to iOS and macOS, and I thought it looked stupid, but then I noticed that it would be perfect for the modern conspiracy pinboard. So I made a little 10-minute video that compares Ryan Ruth, the would-be Trump assassin, to Lee Harvey Oswald, the actually accused Kennedy assassin, and there's parallels. There's some deviations, but there are parallels. We'll watch that after Trump and after Twitter. So let's just spread some Trump.
Michael Jackson. So we love Trump. We got the cheers. We got the.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next president of the United States, President
Thanks,
Donald
Steph, for letting me
J.
know. Good. So
Trump.
should have Mike, and we should have. Kid, early stand near out front. Let's jump ahead a little bit. I'll actually mute it to try not to get copyrighted. It's hard with live streams. All the last 5 live streams have been copyrights, not struck, but copyright detected, which means that if there is a future with YouTube, those videos won't earn any money. It'll all go to the short little Jew who wrote God Bless America song. Always so striking to watch him compared to Biden, and how everyone laughed when, I mean, it was so Trump, when he had his first medical as president, and he declared that he was the most fit president ever. But the dude's lost weight. He's actually lost a lot of weight. He isn't so much barely contained within his suit anymore. I'd say he's lost 15 pounds since he last ran. To compare him to the shuffling, decrepit Biden that all of us, detected and knew that he was obviously senile back then. And he's still active. I mean, you can tell he's not, 30 or 40, but he moves with no difficulty. Okay, here we go. So I guess we noticed that even in states that are still warm, he's moved to all inside venues now. I wonder if they'll ever do any more open air.
Wow. This is a big crowd. This is a big crowd. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody, and a very big hello to
Yeah, this kind of
New
looks
York
like shit.
and a place called Long Island, which I know very well.
1080p, supposedly.
And I'm thrilled to be back in the state I love with thousands of proud, patriotic New Yorkers who are really the heart and soul of America. We know that. And the reason I'm here is because it hasn't been done in many decades. It hasn't been done for a long time, but we are going to win New York.
Hey to all people on X, Kick, Rumble, YouTube. Am I forgetting anybody? Let's spread it on all platforms. If you're watching, take this link and repost it. Respread it. If you love the content that Super does, scan the QR code at the right.
That's the first time in many, many years that a Republican can honestly say it, and we're going to do it. We have to do it. We do it, and the election nationwide is over. We take over the White House, and we fix up our country, okay?
Yes.
We fix up our country. So as you know, 3 days ago, there was yet another assassination attempt on my life. I didn't know I was going to say that.
Assassination attempt on my life.
It was the second one in 8 weeks by a violent radical left.
I tell you, I want one of those silver coins. I actually do.
This evil would-be assassin
They're
got
40
within
bucks
a few
each.
hundred yards of where I stood, but thankfully, our outstanding Secret Service agent, and they are outstanding, spotted the barrel of his rifle in the bushes. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? He saw a barrel of a big, this was a big barrel. This was this you don't want to even talk about. AK-47.
Experts say it was the biggest
But he
barrel.
saw the barrel coming out a little bit out of the very lush bushes, and he took fast action to stop the gunman before I even entered the line of sight. And I want to express my thanks to the U.S. Secret Service,
Deeply male crowd
who
behind
was
him.
there that day, and
Usually grab a bunch of women.
to all of the sheriffs and law enforcement down in Florida, the heroes who helped to apprehend the attacker. And by the way, you possibly heard the story. So the secret agent,
Steph, you got the
service
first
agent,
Trump coin?
pulled out
Was it
the
a
gun
silver
and
coin
started shooting.
or
He
what
said,
was it?
Barrel. He didn't talk like a lot of people. They talk. How are you, sir? What would you like to talk about?
Why would you like
Would you like to talk about the weather?
I love when he does
No,
the
he pulled out the gun and
impersonation.
he started shooting at him. And the villain... No, but think of this. This could only happen with a woman because men aren't smart enough. I hate to tell you, fellas. So he dropped
No,
his gun.
Trump, no.
His car was a block away, and he started running because they had him. And he was running. And a woman driving a car innocently said, "He looks like a bad person to me. He looks very suspicious." And she followed him and pulled up to the back of the car and started taking pictures.
I didn't know
of
this.
his license plate. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I know that someone called in pictures and a license plate. I didn't know that she was following him.
And she took the pictures of his license plate, perfect, beautiful pictures like a professional photographer.
Experts say they were the best
And
pictures.
sent them to the sheriff and said, "I just looked at a man. There was something strange going on. Who the hell would do that?" Right? Only a woman. Only a woman. Right. And I asked the sheriff today, I said, "So, Sheriff, if you had 1,000 events, how many people would have done that? Man or woman, how many people would have done that? Followed him, taken pictures of the license plate and also the type of truck that he was driving?" He said, "Maybe none." So she's a hero. I got to meet her. And
He's not wrong. Okay, he's not wrong. If
because
I
of that,
had shit to
they were
do.
then able to catch him in a very speedy drive down the various highways in Florida, but they got him, and they got him fast. But I think it's incredible. So the agent.
So you have a Trump silver
and that
coin. All
wonderful
right.
woman.
Very cool.
And with all of my heart, I thank you
Should
all
post
for
that
your
on X.
incredible valor. What you've done is incredible. What the people of our country and law enforcement does in this country is incredible. Tonight, let me also deliver a message straight to Kamala Harris. Have you heard of her?
Is the stream looking okay? I'm getting a warning that I've set it too high.
Who, by the way, was just rated by far the most liberal senator in the U.S. Senate, more so even further left than Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas.
Fucking Pocahontas. Forgot about Pocahontas.
She's more so.
Everyone's forgotten about Pocahontas.
Elizabeth Warren, she's more left than Bernie Sanders.
This made
or
us
Elizabeth
change
Warren.
to the stream bit
Let me
rate,
also
so
deliver
let
a
me know if
message
it still
straight to
sounds
Kamala
good,
Harris, the
works
radical
good.
left Democrat politicians, and the fake news media. Look how many are there.
No, they only stream it live when you get shot. Was it CNN's first Trump thing when he got shot? And then who was there? Was it NBC or something? The last Ryan Ruth attempt had just happened to be there filming. Your coin is in Ontario with the rest of your silver
We've
and gold
got to
coins.
get our
Oh,
media
shit.
back in this country.
I hope you trust whoever is holding them. I was buying a silver coin each month for a while as a backup.
But the message is, it's
That's
time
why you're
to
a smart
stop the
girl. That's why
lies,
you're in Yukon.
Stop the hoaxes. Stop the smears.
I've been doing the
stop
same.
the lawfare or the fake lawsuits against me, and stop claiming your opponents will turn America into a dictatorship. Give me a break.
You guys see Chris Cuomo?
Because the fact is that I'm not a
Apologizing?
threat to democracy. They are.
Your mom, okay, well, you can generally trust moms, right? If you
They're
trust
doing
somebody, it
things
should
in
be mom.
politics that have never been done before in the history of our country. And worst of all, with their open borders and bad elections, they have made us into a third world nation, something which nobody thought was even possible. Americans deserve a campaign based on the issues. We try and keep it on the issues. And God
he
has
has
now
been.
spared
Yeah,
my life.
You got to
It
say,
must
he
have
really
been.
has
God,
been.
thank you.
A much more principled, it's funny to say mature Trump. You know, he's only like 9 years older and he's 80 almost.
Not
But he's
once,
much more
but
mature
twice.
and mellow now, like much more
And-
issues focused.
There are those that say he did it because Trump is going to turn this state around. He's going to turn this country around. He's going to make America great again. And maybe. And we're going to bring back religion into our country.
Nicey. Nice. Nicey Christy.
These encounters with death have not broken my will. They have really given me a much bigger and stronger mission. They've only hardened my resolve to use my time on earth to make America great again for all Americans, to put America first. Going to put America first.
Yes, brother.
Earlier today, I was honored to receive the endorsement of the rank and file membership of the Teamsters. I love the Teamsters.
Teamsters, no way. Excellent. Classic Democrats.
They delivered all that concrete for those buildings I built in New York.
I'll bet the executive
They delivered
Teamsters
the
are
big,
with Kamala,
heavy,
though.
Those beautiful trucks you've ever seen, they delivered the concrete in all those buildings I built in New York. But, you know, this hasn't happened in so many decades. We won the overwhelming majority of the local chapters and the members, and as a result, the national organization has refused to endorse the Democrat candidate for the first time in many, many decades. And I also want to thank Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, amazing man, and all of the incredible rank and file Teamsters across the country, because this was a surprise. It's automatic. They endorse the Democrats, automatic for many, many decades. But you know what? They said, they looked at her, they said, we're not going there. I'm sorry. These are tough people. And together we will secure our borders. We will protect our workers. We will defend our jobs. We will rebuild our country with American skill and American pride and American labor. Right? And just as a little side note, we should give them a round, especially because of what they and how they voted today. If they voted the other way, I wouldn't give them a round. But the Teamsters built out this beautiful stadium for tonight's event. Thank you, Teamsters. Thank you. They did a great job. To every hardworking American, whether you live in a red state, a swing state, or a state with a failed Democrat rule, This year we need to elect all Republicans up and down the ballot. We have to clean out and straighten out our country. With your vote, we are going to rescue our country. We are going to rescue our Democrat-run states. We are going to start by saving the great state of New York. Is that good? When I told some people in Washington, yeah, I'm going up to New York, we're doing a campaign speech, they said, what do you mean New York? You can't ever, nobody can win, Republicans can't win. I said, I can win New York and we can win New York. We're going to win New York. And if you vote for me, I'm going to reduce your taxes, reduce your crime, and reduce your levels of stress, because you have a lot of stress. The only thing that I will increase are your incomes, and your love for your state will come roaring back again.
13% increase in
Throughout
love
American
for your state.
history, from generation to generation, New York has always set the standard for American life, and they have. It's been a high standard, too. Our cities were the center of business, arts, culture, our streets, ports, waterways, and they were the arteries of American commerce. They were absolute arteries.
I love this talk. So,
And our towns like
you know from watching the
Uniondale,
video we
Levittown,
made with Matt
Hicksville,
Arrett on the
Huntington.
Arctic, Trump approved a railway to run all the way
These were
across the
great
continent,
towns where you grew
Alberta
up
through
and
to
you loved and
Alaska.
you stayed. But
This is the
look
kind
at
of
what
thinking
has
that we need
happened
here
to
in
New York
Canada.
and the other states, all run by radical left Democrats, every single one of them. Our heavy industries have exported overseas, and our middle class has been eviscerated, right here at home, been eviscerated. Housing costs are out of control. Inflation has cost a typical family $28,000. Think of it, in less than 4 years, $28,000. And we filthy encampments. We have horrible, disgusting, dangerous, filthy encampments of junkies and homeless people living in places that our children used to play Little League baseball, which they don't get to play very much anymore, do they? Over the past 3 years in New York City, there has been a 29% increase in robbery, a 36% increase in felony assault, a 42% increase in grand larceny, a 75% increase in carjackings. Did you buy a nice car lately? Well, 200 police officers leave the NYPD, New York's finest. I always say, I knew it well. New York's finest. They leave every single month, 200 people a month.
Holy
Incredible
shit.
people. They're incredible people. The trains and subways are squalid and unsafe. The median of our highway, all those medians, they spend all that money, they're falling down, they're rotting. Businesses are fleeing. The mobs of illegal migrants are being put up in luxury hotels at your expense, while our great veterans live on the freezing or steaming sidewalks right outside the main entrance.
No way he's winning New York.
Where
Yeah,
the
I mean,
migrants enter their
it's a
hotel.
hell of a
Think
thing
of that.
to have
Think
that
of it.
happen.
We have
Rain
veterans
is
lying
here,
on the
co-host
street,
of Super
squalid,
Stream.
lying on the street, sometimes freezing, sometimes it's hot, it's summer, and they're looking at people coming
Yeah,
in, just
New
came
York's
into our country, and they're
insurmountable,
going up
but
to
it's
the
a hell of a
17th
platform.
floor
I
of
guess
their
that's why
suite.
he's there.
How
And
crazy has our country
definitely not a swing state.
become?
LOLLL.
And can you imagine what those veterans,
Steph, we
when they
do. It
watch
would help
this,
Yellowknife, none of it, and
must
the
be
Yukon for
saying,
sure.
but
The
listen to this,
railway
can
I
you
was
also
talking about,
imagine
yeah.
what the migrants must be thinking? They're saying, can you believe this?
You
We
watched
just
the
came
Arctic video with
from a
me,
place,
right? I mean,
in many cases,
these
they were in
plans were
prisons,
in
and now they're
motion
living in hotel suites
75
while our
years
veterans
ago. We
are
could have had a
living on the
railway
street.
going up to Nunavut, going up to Yellowknife,
And so I
going
say
up
to the
Whitehorse,
people of New
and then
York,
into Alaska,
with
and then getting on a
crime
bridge and
at
going to
record
Russia.
levels, with
Can you
terrorists
imagine?
and criminals pouring in, and with inflation eating your hearts out, vote for Donald Trump. What the hell do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
What do you have to lose? That was one of his best lines in 2016. Really, I think he got all the black voters with what he got to lose.
What do you have to lose? Think of it. What the hell do you have to lose? You know, some of you remember that was a phrase that I used for our black population years ago in 2016. I said, with the worst housing conditions, the worst education,
yes, here we go.
The worst this,
He's
the
jumping right
worst
to
that,
it. What do you got to lose?
I went through 12 different things, and it wasn't on the sheets. And I'm saying, boy, that's really terrible. And I said, and I was at like 2%, not too good. And I said to the black population gathered in front of me, vote for Trump. What the hell do you have to lose? I said that, same thing.
How's it working out for you, blacks, after 180 years of voting Democrat?
When I went backstage, but I'm not like Biden where he takes, I fight back with my people. Remember, we still signed the check. They said, sir, that's a terrible thing to have said. I said, when you said, what the hell do you have to lose? It's terrible, it's demeaning, it's horrible. I said, but it's true. You know what happened? The next day, I picked up 10 points with the black population. And now, because of all we've done, we're at the highest level of black support in the history of the Republican Party. And by the way, the Hispanic support, do we have any Hispanics? The Hispanic support is off the charts, and they don't know what the hell to do about it. It's off the charts.
Is it true? They don't know what to do about it?
And we just had some great polling come out. I think the most accurate poll over the last 8 or 9 years was Rasmussen.
I'm just going to pause Trump and say, like, the ironic thing is that, the fully, like, generationally naturalized black and Hispanic and Filipino and Asian immigrant communities that are in America are far more conservative than us whites. They're actually way conservative. They don't want open borders. They don't want their jobs taken away. They don't want to be called Latinx or Chinex or whatever the hell they come up with. They think it's all stupid, but they just reflexively vote Democrat because mom and grandma and great-grandma all did that, and they told you don't vote for these Republicans or the party of corporatism, and Republicans made it easy to think that way for decades, if not centuries. And Trump he's exploded the GOP party down there, completely wrecked it and made it his own. And they're slowly now waking up to the idea that this guy actually represents us. It's really wild to watch. Steph, I can't stand it when politics separate people by color or background. No, nor can none of us, right? But for the GOP to make any kind of change, a big shift happen and grab some really crucial votes, it's very important that they do get some of these demographics that, like I just said, reflexively vote the way that their parents did, the way their whole community does. So, I mean, like, you've got, like, the blacks in America just voting reflexively for Democrats. It's something like 5% of blacks were voting Republican historically, while their neighborhoods are falling to shit and they're shooting each other up and crime's through the roof. And then Trump comes along and says, what do you got to lose? Let's go. And he jumps double points in the polling and in the voting overnight, by making a clear statement and addressing them directly. So I agree We shouldn't have to bring it up, but Lord knows the opposition's bringing up color and race and gender, so the GOP has to get there a little bit, and I allow some leeway on that, but especially when the message is just, hey, look, guys, hey, you've been voting Democrat your whole life. How's that working out?
They just came out with a poll that we're 5 up. We're 5 up.
I get it, but it still sounds like pandering. Same here. It's like wearing costumes. At least Trump doesn't pander.
We should be 35
he doesn't
up,
like. He doesn't go like, oh, you know. He doesn't put on an accent and then like put hip hop music on and try to be cool or try to pretend that he's like one of them, you know, or anything like that. He just says, "You guys been voting Democrat by reflex. How's that working out for you? You got nothing left to lose because your cities are in ashes. Try me. Try me." And lots of people did in 2016, and they had the best economy they had since Reagan.
You know, some people can't break an old habit. That's really what it is.
I guess it boils down to that even though we hate this gender race stuff, if and the same is going to be true up here in Canada, if you don't address them, they're so used to being identified by their race instead of their city or province or country. They're so used to being addressed that way. If you don't address them that way, you're definitely not going to change a lot of minds. So it's sad but true, a la Metallica.
Vote for Trump, and I will turn it around very quickly with 4 more years of Kamala Harris. New York State will be like a third world nation if it isn't already.
That's true. New
I
York,
think it is.
Fucking hellhole.
With Trump, the Empire State will once again be the envy of the entire world. We will have no crime, only success. And unlike your current radical Democrat regime, I'm not driven by partisan ideology. I'm driven by results, and I'm driven by New York common sense. It's common sense, right? Right? It's common sense. You know, I like to say the party, this is a great party. I like to say the party is really, you know, we're conservative and all that, right? Who knows? You know what we are? We're really people with common sense. We need walls. We need good elections. We want low taxes. We want great police officers that are well taken care of. We don't want to defund the police. We're the party of common sense more than anything else. And it's picked up a lot of steam. It's true. My first week back in the Oval Office, I will clean up and call up your governor and mayors all across your state, and I will tell them it's time to work together. They're largely Democrats. It's time to work together for the good of the people. Going to do it. And despite all of the persecution I've endured from the corrupt judicial system in New York, it's a corrupt system. I love the people of this state, and I want to give back. I want to give back to you. I've had a great life. I want to give back to you. We're going to give it back to you. We're going to make this city and we're going to make this state incredible again. Together we will rebuild our roads, bridges, highways, and airports. They're falling apart. They're falling down. We will renovate New York subway. Oh, that's beautiful. I used to go to school on the subway. Can you believe it? I mean, I like to say it's not so long ago, but it probably is. What do you think, Bruce? I guess it is. But my parents would drop me off at a subway, and I'd go to Union Turnpike, or I'd go to wherever They had no fear that I was going to be disappearing. They would take me to a subway, put me on and say, bye, darling, bye. If you do that today, you have about a 75% chance that you'll never see your child again. What the hell has happened here? What has happened? We will renovate the New York subway so that the greatest city in the world finally has, again, the greatest transit system anywhere in the world. You have the basics. We have to clean it. We have to take care of it. We have to give it a little love. And we have to get the criminals the hell out of there.
I love this. This is where tax dollars should go. This gets me totally excited. And I'm waiting for someone in Canada to start talking like this. Get the old Diefenbaker talk going of opening up the the frontier and stuff. And Canada still, this is like, you know, America, you know, they got much nicer land and better weather down there, and so they were opening up the frontier in the 1800s. We still have so much to do up here, and a leader that would get up and promote the promise of the, you know, taming the wilderness here and building great outposts up north, these super high-tech, beautiful cities up north. How wonderful would that be? And via rail, I'm not going to even get started. If I start on via rail, I'm going to get mad and I'm going to rant on trains. We should have bullet trains that can cross the country in a couple days. But we haven't bought a train in Canada since the 80s. All right, back to Trump.
We will once again support our incredible police officers, New York's finest. A lot of them. You know, I've got the support. To me, this is so important. I think to you, it's every single police group in the nation is supporting me. The other day, the Fraternal Order, it's the largest. They gave us 400,000 police, and they gave us a unanimous endorsement. We have it from everybody. We have it from everybody. We will work with the mayors and the governor to rebuild your defunded and depleted police forces, including New York's finest and NYPD. Look, I know so much about, I love New York's finest. I used to be in Brooklyn. I had an office with my father in Brooklyn. And we used to go in Brooklyn to a White Castle. Did anyone ever hear of a White Castle? And my father would say, no, that's the best place. Only 12 cents a hamburger. Remember? 12 cents. Bruce, we had Bruce. How good is Bruce? Bruce Blakeman, one of the greats. He won in an upset. You know, this is a Republican. He ran a couple of times. You couldn't beat this hoax of Democrats. He ended up winning. He's done such a good job. He's now unbeatable. They don't even run anybody against him. Great. Great. Really great. We got a lot of them. Joe Cairo's here. Joe, are we going to win, Joe? What do you think? Joe Cairo. Don't mess with Joe, right, Joe? We love you, man. Your family's great, too. But I will stop the Kamala crime wave, and we will do everything we can. We're going to get these violent criminals behind bars. We're going to get them out of our country. We're going to take them back to the country from which they came. A few months ago, I visited with the grieving family of a New York City police officer, Jonathan Diller. You know Jonathan Diller? I was hoping his family could be with us. He was just 31 years old, gunned down during a traffic stop by a vicious thug, leaving behind his incredible wife, Stephanie, and family, their one-year-old son. What a son. And it's, are you here? Are they here? They could be here. Is Stephanie here? Because, you know, it was a bond, and she was so great, and I think she's here. It's hard when you have 19,000 people. And Stephanie, unlike a lot of my friends, doesn't want adulation. Honestly, what she wants more than, she wants her husband back. That's what she wants. She doesn't want adulation. I have other friends, you'd find them. I have other friends, if you said their name, they'd be jumping up, here I am, here I am. Stephanie doesn't want that. What a great family, and what a great guy he was. The criminal charge was savagely murdering Officer Diller, was previously arrested by the NYPD 21 times, right? 21 times, Bruce. And the accomplice driving the car had been arrested 14 times, but he was actually much worse. He was more vicious. 14 times, but he was actually far more vicious. This is the kind of story we hear every single day under radical Democrat policies like cashless bail. You kill somebody, And you're out
Rain
on the
says we
streets
don't
in
need
2
big
hours.
cities up here, LOL. Yeah, yeah, I know,
Cashless
right?
bail
That's
has
the
been a
downside.
disaster for our country.
If we ended up on a
Kamala
railway
Harris
on the
wanted
way
it,
to
no matter where she
Anchorage
went.
and such,
She
it would
boasted
really
about being
change
the leader
Whitehorse.
of the movement of cashless
And we like
bail,
it kind
just
of
like she led
semi-Wild West
the
out
effort
here.
to defund the police. You know, she was
At
the
least
leader
deranged
of
West.
the effort to defund the police, and now she's running for president. But a little while ago, like everything else, no fracking, no this, no, she changed her mind. Now she says she likes the police. She can't say love, but she says like. She's made a lot of progress, but you know the first thing that would happen is she will go to defunding the police, if that's even possible to think about. But when I get back into the Oval Office, the madness ends and the law and order is going to return to our country.
But yeah, just to address that, Rain, I know, it hurts. Like we like our strange little area up here that no one goes to, and it would suck to see that ruined. But then again, I mean, you gotta imagine like how it would uplift certain zones of people. With uplift comes corruption and federal oversight, so it's a balance game. So, well, maybe at least we just start with fixing up the trains. We just start, let's just fix up Via Rail, fuck. Spend our money on us instead of, oh, we'll get to it when we get to the tweet news tonight. Instead of, sending all of our guns to Ukraine. Coming out now that our military no longer has guns. We'll get to it.
A fully reformed Federal Department of Justice will
Steph
deliver
agrees with
massive
Rain,
public
yeah.
safety funding
Yeah,
for New York
I do
and
too.
other
I get it. I get
Democrat-run
it.
cities that are under siege. But in exchange, they will give our police back their protection and their respect. We are going to take care of our police, and we're going to respect our police. Everyone here does.
I guess what I'm talking about is just at least the general attitude. We're going to take, the billions that we're taking in taxes, and we're going to do something for Canada. Now, I'd like to see a process whereby the people of Yukon could reject that and have the train just pass us. If we feel that strongly about it, there should be a debate about it. But what I like is that we're doing this fucked up thing. We're taking taxes from you assholes, but this is a model whereby we take the collective money of our people and we have a big dream, and we're going to build nuclear plants and hydro dams and bullet trains and all this kind of thinking, right? And we're going to be a shining beacon on the hill for the rest of the world to look at us and see, look what Canada's done. The way that, for decades and years, many other countries have been pointed to constantly for the success in these areas. Anything from, I'm trying to think of, it's getting hard to think of examples because all the Western nations have degraded themselves so much and aren't doing this anymore. But, back in the day, it used to be like, European Union, you can get on a train and in Madrid and take it all the way to like Belgrade and stuff like that for like $5 and things like this. These are good uses of taxpayer dollars that need to be brought up. And people don't want to hear it, but look at China. I mean, you can fly all over that country on the world's most modern maglev trains doing 300 miles an hour. It's insane. This is stuff that we could be doing, but instead it's all just bankers, bailouts, arming Ukraine, all this stupidity, identity politics. We're funding that. Climate change, and when we get to the Twitter news, we'll see the after a review, it's been found that all the climate subsidies have been going. No one knows where they're going. It's like we're headed towards the Pentagon $2 trillion here in Canada with the climate subsidies. No one knows where they're going. They're being misappropriated when we could be building shit.
I tell the officers all the time, You
I can
have
agree
no
with the
idea how
depot
the
in
people
Whitehorse.
love
Yeah,
you,
right?
but
You know, I mean,
sometimes they don't feel it.
Whitehorse
because
is
of
doing
what the
fine. We don't need
Democrats
to
do to
expand, but
They will end deadly
a train that would get
sanctuary
us
city policies. They will
to
terminate
Haines and
cashless mail, and they will
Anchorage
return
in 30
to
minutes or an hour.
policing
How
methods
awesome
like
would
we
that
had
be?
under Mayor Rudy Giuliani that made New York City the safest big city in America.
Yeah. Same Mayor Giuliani who was sitting in the task force room in World Trade Center 7 when the towers came down. Yeah, that Giuliani. I wish he'd just dumped Giuliani. He did great as the Attorney General in New York and as the mayor, but geez, the guy's just a walking mess. Oh, Steph says railway would help get ore out due to Skagway closing port. Yeah, all this stuff, right? You know, I mean, just connect everything and make it impossible for these shutdowns and crampings in productivity to happen. It's a big thing now that even under liberal control, the Bank of Canada and the elite kind of banking crowd in Canada are admitting that COVID fucked everything up. They had a shortage of work. They brought in 1 billion immigrants and tried to plug the hole, but now they overdid it. And since COVID, the native population here in Canada, and I mean small native, not capital native, started asking for more money. So wages are way up, but productivity is way down. So we need things like this, like you're saying, connect these port closings, pipeline closings, difficulties with this. If you've got more trains, if you've got more infrastructure to move around our valuable resources, we will become more productive. And then that brings down inflation. It's complicated, but it's also not complicated. Building out a strong country that has a strong infrastructure is number one to me. And I'm still waiting for, Poilievre to stop beating about this and that, complaining about Trudeau, and start to give us a grand vision.
Simultaneously, we are going to make life in New York State affordable again.
To be fair, Poilievre's all on the drill, get the oil pumps going, so that's a good start. I'll give Poilievre that.
The word affordable. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for 4 more years of job losses. Look at what's happening. Businesses that are fleeing, money draining out of your state, and hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants sucking your public resources dry. I've always heard for 20 years, I've heard that New York City has no money, and yet they're going to spend $3 billion on illegal migrants, and they're not getting it from the federal government. You wonder, they never had money, but they have $3 billion to take care of people that came into our country illegally. Doesn't make sense. But under the Trump economic plan, we will cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. Half! Because we have more liquid gold under our feet and we don't use it. We go to places like Venezuela when we have more than Russia. We have more than Saudi Arabia. You remember I got Anwar approved in Alaska. It's the biggest site anywhere in the world, probably bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And what did they do? In the first week in office, Ronald Reagan tried so hard he couldn't get it. I got it. The biggest site in the world, Alaska. And in the first week in office, they terminated it. We'll have it back very quickly, I promise you that. We will rapidly defeat inflation. We're going to bring your prices down. All they're doing is they've cut it, but you're up 55 or 60%. People that used to live a nice life 4 years ago, they can't afford an apple. A woman, they showed a picture of a woman the other day. I said, boy, that's sad. That should never happen. She went to the counter, the cashier. She had 3 apples. And when she was standing with the cashier, she realized she didn't have enough money for one of the apples, and she took the apple, brought it back, and she bought 2 apples. That shouldn't be happening in our country. That shouldn't be happening in our country.
No 2 apples in our country.
We will cut interest rates, cut insurance costs, and insurance is horrible. And massively, we will cut your taxes again. I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country.
Steph says, tell Rain to say hello, as I can't reply to him
And
on
we have
YouTube, as
something
it's on TV for the hours thing only.
Kamala Harris, as you look at her plan, will give you, very simply, the largest tax hike in American history.
Hey, Rain from Steph.
She's going to
Steph
lift
says, hey.
your taxes. This is the only person I've ever seen, and Biden too. They announced that they're going to raise your taxes, and it's supposed to be good politically. I don't think so. I don't know. I've never seen that, Anthony, before, where they say they're going to raise your taxes. They're going to raise your taxes. Vote for me, I'm going to raise your taxes. Can you believe it? I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that, because the news will say, vote for me, I'm going to raise it. They're going to say,
yeah, that's
they're going
right.
to attribute it to me. I can't do that. I told our great First Lady I will not be
Watch
sarcastic
hours. Oh, yes.
anymore.
Okay, I see. Thanks,
when you
Steph.
joke
Really
or when
appreciate
you're
it.
sarcastic, the fake news will take a story like that.
We need like 1,000
I never
watch
said I
hours
was gonna raise
before
your
we can
taxes.
apply for
Yes.
monetization on
Vote
YouTube.
for me, I'll
And
raise your tax.
whatever.
Kiddingly,
It's fucking
kiddingly.
YouTube and Google and Censorland, but at the same
These
time,
people are the worst.
it's still the best of the best. And if we can make it work there, we will.
When I imitated
Thank you
Joe
very
Biden
much.
because he couldn't get off a stage, so I'd imitate him because he couldn't find the stairs and look around. He finished the speech, the speech would last maybe 3 minutes, maybe a little less than that. And then he'd want to get off the stage, and it always go like this. But you remember, we're not running against him. We're running against somebody who's
Impersonation
actually
time.
much
Let's
worse.
get it.
Ready? And he'd go like this.
Yes, Steph. Thanks.
And then he'd walk in a different direction. It was the weirdest thing. And Secret Service did a great job. They'd come up in the stage and they'd pull him out. Like today, we have 4 or 5 stairs. You always have 4, 5, 6 stairs. The more it's government-owned, the more stairs you have. But you always have...
I remember having debates with people really close to me. They were shocked that I supported Trump. And one of the things I'd hear multiple times is that he wasn't funny. And I'd say, what? Are you kidding? The guy's cracking jokes all the time. I mean, maybe you don't get it, you don't like it, but he's funny. And they would just be like, no, he is not funny. He's just Hitler. Hitler's not necessarily known for his sense of humor, so that's what they want to make of him. But I mean, the guy's a handball. Steph says he cracks me up. Exactly. I mean, I the speeches, I can't make it through them. He's just so funny. Even when he's kind of being serious and he goes like China and he puts his little words on, he's just hilarious the whole time. He's a walking meme.
So I said to our great First Lady, who can draw a crowd? Did you watch me tonight on television, First Lady? People love our First Lady out there.
Yeah. It is so tragic for Melania. Everybody was nuts over Jackie O, Jackie Kennedy, as this bastion of fashion and so gorgeous and thin and young and all this stuff. And Melania outdoes her on any level. Yet just because she's associated with Trump, the whole swamp media and shit just hate on her and it just pick at her, and it's terrible. It's so unfortunate. And what his daughter too? Is Ivanka the daughter? I get all locked up in the Ivanas. Ivana. Her too. She's actually been quite a reasonable person over the years, and they just shit on everything that she does, and it's so sad. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Go out and get a book. She just wrote a book. I hope she said good things about it. I don't know.
He didn't read it. He didn't read the book.
She just wrote a book called Melania. Go out and buy it. It's great.
He didn't read it. I hope she said good things about me.
If she says bad things about me, I'll call you all up and I'll say, don't buy it. Get rid of it. No, but she said to me, I said, baby, did you see the crowd? We had 18,000 people. We could have filled it up 3 or 4 times. Bruce Blakeman said to me, if we went to a stadium or a park, we would have had 100,000 people or more. So I'd call up my wife and I'd say, baby, who could draw crowds? Nobody can draw crowds like me. Nobody, not even close. I'm the greatest of all time, maybe greater even than Elvis, because Elvis had a guitar. I don't have a guitar. Elvis had a guitar. I don't have the
He's got a
privilege
point. He's got a
of
point.
guitar.
He might actually be better than Elvis. He's got a point there.
But I'd say, baby, who could do it like me? Nobody can do it like me. How great am I? And she'd say, you know, and she'd say, I'd say, how great was the speech? Not how good. How great was it? And she'd say, it was good, but your hair looked terrible tonight. Or the worst ever. So I said, how good was it, First Lady? And she said, it was good, but you couldn't find your way off the stage. I was imitating Biden, and they said I did it. I couldn't find my way off the stage. No, so you can't be sarcastic. Sarcasm with the media doesn't work, okay? It doesn't.
Well, not this media. It would work with a real media.
So I've given up about 90% of it. I got all my friends here. Anthony, stand up. Anthony Lomangino, one of the greats of all time. He said, I have a big business problem. What? I have too much cash. I don't know what to do with it. I said, I've heard of worse problems than that, Anthony, right? He's doing good. He's a great man, great businessman, and a great person. Kamala wants income tax hikes, small business tax hikes, capital gains tax hike. How about the capital gains? She wants a tax, unrealized capital gain. That means she wants to give you a capital gain, even if you have stock. She wants to give you a capital gain, even if you didn't sell it. You know, I know a lot of people, they're very rich, but they don't have cash. They're rich, but they don't have cash. A lot of them. You know, it's like that. Farmers are like that. They have great land, great everything. They make income, but they don't have cash. And you know what I did for farmers and small business in the tax hike? And nobody talks about this. I got rid of the estate tax, so that, or the death tax, as they would call it, so that when you die and you pass it on to your children who you love, if you don't love your children, then it's not going to do you any good. And there are those. Does anybody in this incredible arena, they did a nice job, by the way, fixing it. I remember the old one. Does anybody in this incredible arena not love their children? Who in the arena is rich and will not leave their money to their kids? Because if that's the case, then what they did for you doesn't mean anything.
Like six hands go up in the back.
20,000 people and I have no hands. Okay, who wants to leave their money to their kids?
Wow. And it was full. When they showed the shots before, it was full.
You know, in the old days, you'd leave the money to the kids, and what would happen? The kids would have to go out and borrow money. They'd lose everything. They had to borrow money from a bank at a high rate of interest. Now they don't have to do that anymore. Now you can leave your farm, you can leave your small business to your kids, but Kamala wants to end that. She wants to end it. She wants to raise your tax to a level that nobody's ever heard of before, and it's crazy. We will go in to a depression. I thought this was a wise guy coming up.
Speaking of uplifting the Native community and no taxes, at the bottom here you see a red QR code with the buy smokes. I know many of you conservatives are filthy smokers, so down here, Smokes Canada. Scan that QR code. Entire cartons of cigarettes for $39 Canadian. I shit you not. And that's an affiliate link, so you can help support the channel and what we do here. For me sitting here for 3 hours tonight, get to give us a consideration by buying your smokes from that link. Back to Trumpola.
This guy, I thought, I'm getting ready. I'm going like this. You know, I got a little bit of a yip problem here, right?
A yip?
That was amazing. I was all ready to start duking it out. I felt like my man in the front row here. Stand up, will you please? This is the toughest man. You know him?
Oh, shit.
Do you all know? I'm going to introduce you later so you can see. He's the toughest guy. If somebody walked on the stage, he wouldn't be afraid.
It's like the most Italian guy in history.
Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? It's the first time that's ever happened, I think. Is he new to the game? I think so. By contrast,
I can
I
smell
will
the
cut
hair
taxes
dye.
for families, small businesses, and workers, including restoring the SALT deduction, saving thousands of dollars for residents of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and
SALT
other
deduction, what's that?
high-cost states. Going to restore SALT. Jobs and factories will pour back into New York. I know how to do it better than anybody's ever known how to do it, and we can do it so easily. Wages will soar, the cost of living will fall, and I will deliver the greatest economy in the history of the world to our country.
As the speech
and
has
one of
gone
the
on, the
greatest
background has
economies
gotten
in the
more
history
diverse.
Of New York
Like 50%
State.
more women, 25% more blacks.
And a key part of restoring safety and saving our economy is stopping the invasion at the border of our country.
Hell
It's
yeah.
crazy. Under border czar Kamala Harris, you know, she was the border czar until she started looking at this situation, until the coup. I say until the coup because there was a coup.
Oh, and then she was
But
never
she
the
was
border czar.
Now she said, I was never the border czar.
Yeah.
You know what? Give her that. But she was in charge of the border, and the border is the worst run border in the history of the world. There's never been a border like this.
Yep. For once, that's
21
not
million
hyperbole from
people.
Trump. It definitely is the
Illegal
worst
aliens
run
are coming
border.
in from all over the world, from prisons and jails, from mental
Prisons and
institutions
jails.
and insane asylums. Many tourists are coming in just to watch. Did you ever see this? You have tourists that line up to take pictures of it. They usually turn out to be the fake news, and the pictures are so bad they never show it. You know, the fake news never, ever talks about it, but we have massive numbers of terrorists coming in to our country. You have everybody coming in. We have people that can't speak the language. The great Tom Homan told me the other day, great guy, central casting guy, great guy. He told me the other day, last month, they figured it out for the last 12 months, 168 different countries came in, represented, and came into our country. Most people don't even know you have that many countries. You actually have over 200, but most people don't know. But I want to be known as one thing. In 2016, I probably won because of the border. I did a great job. I cleaned it up, and the border was good. And in 2020, even though I got millions and millions more votes, they said, sir, if you get the same number of votes as you did in 2016, 63 million, sir, you cannot lose. I got millions more, and I lost. But you know what? We're going to have the greatest win in history when we pull this one off. It's going to be legendary. But in 2020, my people would say, sir, it doesn't help for you to speak about the border. Nobody cares. I said, I want to speak about the border. I did a great job. Sir, nobody cares. It's true. I talk about the border. Nobody cared. But now they care. Because now the border is 25 times worse than it was in 2016. Now the border is not even believable what's happening. And I want to be known as your border president. I'm going to be known as your border president. And Kamala will be known as your invasion president. Just let them all come in. Let them all come in. Now, we got to save our country. Our country's going down. If you look at what's happening with the Venezuelans taking over, I mean, they're taking over large pieces of real estate in Colorado, and you have a Democrat governor who's petrified of them. He's afraid. I'd never seen anything like it, and he doesn't want to talk about it. They've taken over your buildings and your land. You got to do something about it. That wouldn't happen with Bruce Blakeman, I can tell you right now. Bruce, would you let people come in from a foreign country like Venezuela, where, by the way, their crime rate is down 72% because they've taken their prisoners, they've taken their gangs, they've taken their drug dealers, and they've shipped them all to the United States, so their crime rate's down.
All right, let's be careful with what
Bruce,
Trump says about Venezuela.
Would you ever
He
tell
backed the
people
CIA
that you're supposed
plant
to be protecting when they call
and tried to make a coup happen during his presidency in Venezuela. But careful, careful. This is a blind spot for Trump.
Would you do that, or would you say, don't worry, we'll have a force of people over there within minutes and it would all be over, right? Right? I think so. No, he wouldn't play games.
But then again, he's also not wrong with the idea that, Central and South American countries are wrapping up their shithole people and sending them up here. He's not wrong about that. So it's a mixed bag, but keep those keep the skeptic ears on whenever Trump brings up Venezuela. He is not fully informed on the situation down there.
Wouldn't play games. But these people, the law enforcement, they're afraid in these places because it's so violent. They've never seen people like this. These are violent people that they're allowing into our country. It is truly an invasion, and we're not going to let it happen. We're going to take those violent people and we're going to ship them back to their country. And if they come back in, they're going to pay a hell of a price.
Oh, he just gave the left a clip right there. Trump threatens migrants. Trump threatens refugees. You can see it now.
Thank you. We have no choice. We have no choice. It's not like, this is not sustainable by any country. This is not sustainable. How about in Springfield, Ohio? They had 32,000. This is a little beautiful town. No crime, no problem. 32,000 illegal immigrants come into the town, 32. So they almost doubled their population in a period of a few weeks. Can you believe it? And you know what? They've got to get much tougher. I'm going to go there in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to Springfield and I'm going to Aurora. You may never see me again, but that's okay. Got to do what I got to do. Whatever happened to Trump? Well, he never got out of Springfield. I'm leading in Ohio by like 15 points, a lot. And we're going to take care of Ohio. And we're going to take care of Colorado. And we're going to take care of every single state in the union. They're all under siege. A lot of people don't talk about. But think of this. So the mayor of Springfield, and I think he's a very nice person, but instead of saying we're getting them all out, we're getting them out. He says very simply, we're hiring teachers to teach them English. Can you believe it? We are hiring interpreters, so when they go to school and take the place of our children in school, we have an interpreter. Each one will have a private interpreter. What the hell is wrong with our country? No. We're getting them out of our country. They came in illegally. They're destroying our country. We're getting them out. They're going to be brought back to the country from which they came. I will protect our country. I will protect our country. Think of it. She will surrender our country. That's what they're doing. They still refuse to acknowledge that these people have to be taken out. And you start with the stone cold killers, the murderers, the drug dealers. You get them out, and you tell them if they ever come back, big trouble. But let me tell you what you really do. Some of them are so bad you can't take the chance of sending them out because they'll come back. You lock them up, and they're going to be there for a long time. And when they know that, you'll see a whole big difference. As you know, here on Long Island, the open borders policies of Kamala Harris, and it were really her policies, and the communist left, I call it the communist left, have been importing MS-13 gang members by the thousands. I don't know what it is about Long Island, but I took thousands and thousands of gang members out. Do you remember the story? Remember, I came into the presidency, and MS-13 was on my mind because I saw that in Long Island, two beautiful young girls were walking to school. They were 16 years old, and an MS-13 gang of deviants grabbed the girls and sliced them up into pieces. Not with guns. They didn't want guns. They killed the two girls. They sliced them into little pieces. And I never forgot that. And then I found out that things like that are happening all over, wherever they are. MS-13, the worst gang anywhere. The only thing good about that is they make our gangs look like very nice people, I want to tell you. These are the worst people. They're animals. And Nancy Pelosi said, you shouldn't call people animals. That's not appropriate. They're animals. That's the philosophy. And I said, I got to the White House, and I said, they have a lot in Ohio, a lot in every state. And I said, I want MS-13 out of here. They come from various places, a little bit south of Mexico. They come from Mexico, too. And I said, what I want you to do is I want to bring them out. And a general said, sir, I'm sorry, sir. The countries will not, under any circumstances, allow us to bring them back in. They don't want them anymore, sir. I said, how long has this been going on? Many years during the Barack Hussein Obama. Has anyone ever heard of him? Many years, sir, under the Barack Hussein Obama administration. It's been going on for years, sir. They won't take them. You know what they do? They would take Honduras, okay? Think of it. They would take planes, and they would put them on the runways. They would put the planes, El Salvador, or different countries, some of the roughest gangs. They put big commercial aircraft. So when a plane is going to fly in with 200 or 300 MS-13 killers, you couldn't land the plane. They said, sir, we can't get them back. All of the bus routes are blocked. We can't get the buses in. And when they know a plane is coming, they put planes on the runway. Sir, we won't be able to do it. I said, I think you will. How much money do we pay them for? Economic development of the dictator's house. How much money do we pay them, General? I'll get back to you, sir. He comes back the next day. Sir, we pay them $750 million a year. It's a lot. Let me tell you, it's peanuts compared to some of the money that we pay, but it's a lot of money. I said, inform these countries that under no circumstances are they getting any money anymore. They're not getting any money. They are delinquent. They're not allowing us to bring back people that they forced into our country through caravans. So they informed them, and the next day I get to the Oval Office nice and early, and I get calls from 3 particular countries separately. Sir, there seems to be a problem or a misunderstanding. I said, yeah, there is a misunderstanding. You're not taking your MS-13 people that you sent into our country. You're not taking them back. And I'm going to not give any money to your country forever. You're never getting 10 cents. And in all cases, they said something to the effect, sir, it is so bad that I didn't know about this. I wish I would have known about it. We would love to take MS-13 back into our country. We love them very much. We will take them back,
I love these
sir.
glimpses into negotiations
we started
with
bringing
Trump.
them out of our country by the thousands and thousands and thousands.
You have to know that when you're going in to negotiate with Trump, you have to know, like, to some degree, you're not going to win.
The worst part of the story is, now, I still didn't pay him. I figured. But now they're getting $4 billion a year under Biden. Biden
Busy
said,
night on
do it.
Ttwitter.
Maybe she knew about
We're
it.
not
I don't
getting
wanna blame her if she
a
didn't,
lot of
but
engagement on X
$4
tonight.
billion. You know why?
Interesting.
Because he wants them to create a beautiful environment so that they say that that's not going to happen. Okay, the money's going to be stolen all over the place. So instead of 750, it's now at $4
Really busy
billion.
night. Some big
An
streams tonight.
estimated
Daniel Smith
75% of arrests
was
in
on
Midtown
Ryan
Manhattan,
Bixby's
and over 60%
space,
of arrests in Queens
and
are
like
now
8 spaces started the
illegal
exact
aliens.
same time at 5 p.m.
Congratulations. And you know this. In Queens a few months ago, an illegal alien released by Kamala Harris, she was in charge of the border, approached 2 13-year-old children with a machete in broad daylight, forced them into the woods, tied them together by the wrists and raped them, injured them terribly, very badly. You know about it.
That should be a
In the
national
Bronx,
scandal.
another illegal alien that Kamala Harris set loose into our country approached a 36-year-old woman.
I want one of these
while
ivermectin
pretending to ask
antibiotic
for
kits.
directions. Ma'am, he said, I'd like directions to someplace. Before he wrapped his arms around her throat, pinned her down on a park bench, and raped her all night and beat the hell out of her. And you know what she said? She said, he didn't rape me, he tried to kill me. That was her expression when the police came. And on Coney Island, a place I know well, just weeks ago, 2 migrants, Kamala let in, raped a 46-year-old woman with a knife to her throat. She was badly, badly beaten, probably going to live. For every New Yorker being terrorized by this wave of migrant crime, and I've been talking about migrant crime for 5 years. I said, if you let them in, it's going to be hell. They are vicious, violent criminals that are being let into our country. They're people that their countries who are very smart, they don't want them. That's why all over the world, a lot of people coming from jails out of the Congo in Africa. Where do you come from? The Congo.
People make this out to be racist, but when you look at the stats, it's true.
You are racist.
Where in the Congo? We come from jail. What did you do? We will not tell you. They're coming from the Congo. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the world. Asia. A lot of it coming from Asia. And what's happening to our country is we're just destroying the fabric of life in our country, and we're not going to take it any longer. And you got to get rid of these people. Give me a shot. You will have a safe New York within 3 months. 3 months.
Give me a shot. I like that. Give me a shot. You should stick with that. Give me a shot. What do you have to lose? You should stick with that.
For every New Yorker being terrorized by this wave of migrant crime, November 5th will be your liberation day. It's going to be liberation because you are living like hell. You're living a life like hell. I will launch a special task force of elite federal law enforcement people, many of whom I already know, that are tough, and charge them with crushing the MS-13 remnants. You know, the problem is I got them out, and now they come back in. They just walk back in like there's nothing to it. But eliminating MS-13 in every foreign gang and organized criminal network opening up on American soil. They're coming in by the millions, not by the hundreds. They're coming in by the millions. Think of it. Probably 21 million people. That's probably a low number. We can do all of this and more, but patriotic New Yorkers must get your asses out to vote. Gotta get up. Gotta get up. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry.
Come on, Harry.
Get up, Harry. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Harry.
We need a meme where we find Harry.
We got to vote. Got to vote. And I believe we have the vote. You know, it's an interesting thing. Evangelical Christians, they tend not to vote very much. If they did, you'd never lose. Gun owners, I have the total endorsement of the NRA, have had it from the beginning.
Nice.
Gun owners don't vote, meaning they don't vote in a proportion that they should. Very small numbers vote. It's probably rebellion, who knows what it is. The gun owners have to get out and vote. Evangelicals, Christians have to get out and vote. People have to get out. There are some groups that don't vote like they should, and we're going to win. We're pleased to be joined tonight by members of Congress that are really terrific, that are warriors, really warriors. And one of them in particular, I love what she did to that woman at Harvard. Oh, that was not pretty. Elise Stefanik. Where is Elise? Where is she? Where is she? She is so great. Where the hell is she? Thank you, Elise. Boy, she was great. Mark Molinaro. Great. Nick LaLota. Nick. Thank you, Nick. Great job. He's doing a good job. Here's another one doing a good job. I gave him a big endorsement, Anthony D'Esposito. He's doing a great job. Thank you, Anthony. Salt. Salt, Anthony. Remember, fellas, salt. Brandon Williams, doing great. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you very much. Nick Langworthy, terrific guy. Claudia Tenney. Where's Claudia? Where's Claudia? She's been amazing. Congressional candidates, Mike LePetri. Where's Mike? Thank you, Mike. Good. I heard you leading big. And Allison Esposito. She's a tough one. Allison, thank you. Thank you very much. It's tough, you know, when you have this many people. I'm looking around. Where's one person? Thank you very much, Allison. Beautiful. Senate candidate Mike Sapriacone. Mike Sapriacone. Come on, Mike. Where's Mike? You got to win, Mike. We got to win that one, Mike. You can do that. You can do that. A former senator and a friend of mine for a long time, and we had disputes every once in a while, but generally I would say it was a 10 relationship, and he was a tough cookie, Senator Al D'Amato. Right? Good man. A good man. A great lawyer and congressman, and he helped me a lot during impeachment hoax #1 and impeachment hoax #2. They were hoaxes.
Yeah, they sure
Congressman
were.
Lee Zeldin. He's great. And he's a big part of our campaign, and I want to bring him to Washington with us. He's a great lawyer. Get ready. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, who's fantastic. A mayor who was a fantastic mayor, very shy kind of a guy. He took crime. It was terrible. It was at a level that was as bad as today. And he made New York the safest big city in the world. Rudy Giuliani. Boy, Rudy, isn't that great? And his son, who happens to be a great golfer. A lot of people say, oh, how's Andrew? Not that good. Let me tell you, he's seriously good. Andrew Giuliani. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Did a good job. And a very beautiful little boy who went through hell. But I brought him some presents. That's why I was late for you today. I brought him presents. I said, Liam, do you think the crowd of 20,000 plus a lot of people outside, you know, we put up big televisions on the back of the building, but that's not like being here. It's wonderful. Hello out there. I hope you're enjoying it. Big, big, beautiful screens. We have big screens. Not quite like being in the third row, first row. But Liam LaCastro is here, and he is a great young man. He's gone through a lot, but he's going to be better soon. Right, Liam? And I got him the most beautiful present. He's a great boy, great parents, beautiful sister. Also with us are members of New York City Firefighters Union, Local 94, the largest in the city. Thank you, fellas. Incredible people. And in their honor, and I think this is a big deal, because in your honor, I am announcing tonight that as president, I will officially make the Ground Zero site at the World Trade Center a national monument.
Wow.
Protected
it isn't a national monument?
So that hallowed ground and the memory of those who perished there will be preserved for all time, preserved forever. And you deserve it. A lot of great people. I met them last week. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I met him last week with the ceremony, and it was a beautiful ceremony, and met a lot of fantastic people. The New Yorkers who created the 9/11 National Memorial Museum really did an amazing job, didn't they? And many of them are here today, and I want to thank them. And I want to ensure that their outstanding work is sustained forever, and that's what we've done by doing this. So we are just 48 days away from the most important election in American history. The most important. The most. Stand up. Now you can stand up. They didn't put your name down. Turn around. Who is he? Name him. He took care of business, right? It's my man. Good. Boy, I'm glad I didn't forget you. Good guy. Good friend of mine for a long time. Whenever I had problems, I'd look at him and they'd say, let's leave Trump alone. Thank you, man. Thank you. We appreciate it. Great gentleman. Kamala Harris is for wide open borders with terrorists and criminals pouring into our country, more inflation, even higher than the last 4 years, which was a record. She wants to pack the Supreme Court. Think of that one. And today, I heard it all. I thought they wanted maybe 11, maybe they wanted 13. That's an unlucky number, so maybe it would be 15.
Oops.
Instead of 9,
Sorry.
but instead of 9, Kamala wants to bring up potentially as many as 25 justices so that they can rig the system like they rig everything else, including elections. And maybe one of the worst things of all, she is a true believer. And again, I said this before, if you want to defund the police, if you've been there even for a day, in your mind you want to defund the police even for one day, you are not qualified to be the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Because anybody who wants to defund the police, we can't have it. We can't have it. It'll go down. It'll go down. We're not going to let our country fail. It's too great. And you know what? If we don't win this election, it's very possible we'll never have another chance. We have to do it. You have to get out. You have to vote. But Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She supports free health care for illegal aliens. How about that one? You don't get free health care. These are all things that she was for years. Now, for the last little while, she's saying, no, I don't really think that was right anymore. 15 different things. She wants mass amnesty and citizenship for all illegals, which means totally bankrupting Social Security and Medicare. She wants to put illegal aliens into your Social Security and your Medicare system, which guarantees their bankruptcy. She says we must not utter the words illegal alien again or radical Islamic terrorist again. And think of this, during her 3.5 years, to me this is the worst thing I talk about tonight, it's unbelievable. During her period of 3.5 years, she was in charge of the border. She lost more than 325,000 migrant children, many of whom have been trafficked, raped, and many of whom are dead. Many of whom are dead. Think of what that is. That's like Yankee Stadium filled up many, many times. Think of it. Think of it. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person. I'd never heard of this. Rape of a very unconscious person as totally nonviolent crimes. She vowed repeatedly to ban fracking. She imposed a natural gas export ban that is crushing the state of Pennsylvania. I'm way up in Pennsylvania, by the way. This helps. Because she's not going to let, the day after the election, all of these things come back. I hope you know that. She praised the idea of a tax rate of between 70 and 80%, and her only idea for solving inflation is to impose communist-inspired price controls, which have never worked. She pledged to abolish. Does anybody here have private health care? You worked hard. She wants to abolish anybody that's worked hard and made some money. Private health care, no more private health care, and force everyone into a socialist government-run health care with high taxes and deadly wait times. And she even endorsed free sex change operations for illegal aliens in detention, all at taxpayer expense. Now think of that one. They come into the country illegally and they say, I want to change my sex. Oh, that's okay. She's totally in favor of it. I'm sure she'll deny it now, but that's what she is. In 2021, Joe Biden tasked Kamala Harris with bringing broadband to rural America. Rural America was dying for it and gave her $42 billion to do the job. 3 years later, right now, not a single home has been connected to broadband. Everyone's saying, what happened to the money? $42 billion, not one home. And in the Midwest, you read this, in the Midwest, they built 8 charging stations. That's like a gas pump with electricity, right? 8. They spent $9 billion to build 8 charging stations. Other than that, it really works well. I will end the electric mandate on cars immediately. And I have to say this, look, Elon Musk is great. He's a great guy. And he makes a great car. And as strong as I am on this, because I think they're incredible, but it's limited. Some people want them, and some people love them. I think they're incredible. And he makes a great product, maybe the best product, I hear. And he understands this. Some people have to go far distances. Some people don't want the additional cost. Some people don't want their car built in China. Electric cars will be built in China. I'm going to bring back the auto industry. We're going to have gasoline-powered cars. We're going to have hybrids. We're going to have electric cars. We're going to have everything. The new one is hydrogen. I heard about that the other day. Hydrogen. There's one little problem. If it blows up, you're dead. It's great until one day there's a little bit of a problem, Anthony, and it blows up. And when that happens, it's not a pretty picture. So I think I'll take a pass on that one, if you don't mind, for a while. And just today, 3 agencies of the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden administration, the FBI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just released a report confirming that Iran actors hacked into the Trump campaign's email accounts and in turn sought to give the hacked materials to the Biden-Harris campaign. They gave them all of the materials because Biden is working with Iran, and Iran doesn't exactly like me because they were ready to make a deal, except we had an election that was rigged and stolen. And look at what's happening to our world now. But no, Iran hacked into my campaign. I don't know what the hell they found. I'd like to find out. Couldn't have been too exciting. But they gave it to the Biden campaign. I can't believe it. Oh, yes, I can. But this is really foreign election interference. This is real election interference, not the phony crap that they've been trying to pin on me with Russia, Russia, Russia for years. Whatever happened to Russia, Russia, Russia? Remember the 51 intelligence agents? They said, no, no, the laptop from hell, it's Russia. No, it was Hunter. It was Hunter. Remember that? We had to go 2.5 years, and then they finally said, all right, the Mueller, remember Mueller? He said, in millions of phone calls, Trump didn't make one to Russia. They went through every phone call I made. Can you imagine? In millions of calls, not one call to me. And a lot of people apologized for that, but not enough people apologized. They wasted time and money. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars going after me, and they got nothing. They got nothing. But we cannot allow this insanity to continue anymore. That's why less than 2 months from now, we are going to tell Kamala that we've had enough. Kamala, you've been a terrible vice president. You will be an even worse president. We're not going to take it anymore, Kamala. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. You're fired. We're not going to take it anymore, Kamala.
USA, USA.
That was a little line from The Apprentice, which I'm sure you haven't seen. What a great show. Was The Apprentice good or what? From the moment we take back the White House from Kamala Harris, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Starting on day 1, I will seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, an invasion like no country has ever seen before. We will stop it immediately. We will carry out the largest deportation operation of criminals in American history. We're getting them out of our country. We will make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. We have more than anybody else. And we have more. Think of it, we have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than anybody else, especially when you add Anwar in Alaska, which we will reinstitute immediately. We're going to use it along with growth. We are going to grow to start paying down our debt. We have $35 trillion in national debt. We were all set to do it. And then we got hit by COVID. We had to focus on that. And then we gave back. You know, I got great marks on the military. We took out ISIS, wiped out ISIS 100%. We did it in 4 weeks. It was supposed to take 4 years, 5 years. And I got great marks on the economy. Never got great marks on COVID because they didn't want to give them to me. But the fact is, we did an unbelievable job. Nobody knew what the hell it was. It came from China. It came from the Wuhan lab. I said all these things. And we did an unbelievable job. And we handed over a country whose stock market was higher than it was just prior to COVID coming in. And amazing. But we did have to focus on that. Think of what China did to us. The world has $60 trillion and millions of people dead over that disaster. Think of that. The whole world, even China suffered very much. They suffered at the end more than almost anybody. I will turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower more than it has ever been before. We're going to bring back the car industry. We're going to bring back the car industry.
I love all this
Other
talk,
countries that
but
make
you
us
got to be
pay a
ready
tax
to
to
pay
do
more
business
for your
with them will
cars
be
if we bring
charged the same
manufacturing
tax
back
when they
to
send
North
their
America.
product into the United States. We have countries.
People
not only
unite.
China,
Welcome to
many,
the
many
stream.
countries,
Good to
many
see
of
you,
them are
brother.
allies. Some of the worst
All lies,
trading
plus he pushed
countries
ivermectin,
are allies.
which is actually a
Don't let that word
steroid. Don't take it.
surprise
You won't be able
They're
to
allies.
detox.
They're friends of
All
ours.
right.
And
So
they
you kind of a
take
hate
advantage of us
watcher? You're here to
horribly
hate on
military,
Trump,
with
or
NATO and on trade. It will be
you
called
want somebody
the
that's
Trump
more populist, or you
Reciprocal
want somebody
Trade
that's
Act, and
more
if China or any other country charges
like a
us
bit of a hater.
a 200 or 100 or 300%
Xenophobe. Yeah,
tax,
I don't
then
disagree.
we will charge them a like
Although
100, 200, 300% tax in
5,000% less
return.
xenophobic than the current
You
regime.
charge us, we charge you.
Right? We've got in America, you've got
And my
a
message is very
warmongering,
simple. Make your
Taiwan
product
supporting,
right here
send the
in
Navy out to
Uniondale,
fuck
make your
around in
product
the
in
Straits.
America.
Send
Make
Nancy
your
Pelosi
product in
over
America,
to cause
and only
shit.
in America. And if you do
Whereas
that,
Trump
Bruce, you won't have to
had
pay
an
a tax.
adversarial
And they'll be
relationship
coming in here
with
like you wouldn't believe, right?
tariffs
The
on
worst that happens,
China,
we'll take
yet
a lot of
still
money, but we
sat
don't even
down
want that.
and had
we want
talks
them
with
to
Xi.
make their product. We're going to bring back the auto
I'd need to
industry.
see a little bit of evidence
Right now, China's building
that Trump
some
is
of
a
the largest
xenophobe.
auto plants in the world, and they're building
Other
them
than
in
he says
Mexico.
China.
And they think they're going to build these massive plants.
So what's the deal? You a
Literally
hater?
the
Are you a
biggest in the world.
leftist?
They're
Are
gonna
you
make millions of
further
cars
right?
and sell them
He's not
without tax
hard
across
enough?
our
What's
border.
your deal
We will
there,
put
people
a
unite?
tariff on all of those cars to a point where they won't be able to sell them because we want them to build their plants in the United States and
Great to
hire
have you
many
here, though.
of the people in
We
this
love having
audience, and
viewers.
that's
We
what's
love
going to
having
happen.
discussion. This is a place where we can talk about anything, but you got to bring some facts.
And
Can't
we
just
also
rant
have
in the
something
chat and expect
that's
not to be
basic,
called
but
out.
Wow. People said, you're really smart. Where the hell did you think of this one? No tax
Experts said
on
I was
tips.
the smartest ever.
So if you're a waitress, a caddy, a driver, but maybe better, no tax on overtime. And we'll get it done.
Smart of
We'll
them
get it done.
to
Unlike
push
him
the
with
no
student loan
tax
debt
into
that went
another
nowhere just
area.
to talk.
So
We get it.
now
I get it
Kamala's
all
going to
done.
have to say, oh, yeah, totally
Remember
no
what they
tax on
say,
overtime. Me too.
Promises made, promises kept. That's me. And ready? Here's for the seniors. Do we have any seniors in the audience? Raise your hand.
Oop. Oh, shit. Oh, I just screwed up the entire stream. Oh, that's fun. All right, we'll find it.
Mandate on cars immediately.
Oh, no, this is live. He's still talking?
And I have to say this, look, Elon Musk is great. He's a great guy. And he makes a great car. And as strong as I am on this, because I think they're incredible, but it's limited. Some people want them, and some people love them.
So we probably missed something there. Forgive me. That was an errant trackpad click. It happens to the best of us.
Some people have to go far distances. Some people don't want the additional cost. Some people don't want their car built in China. Electric cars will be built in China. I'm going to bring back the auto industry. We're going to have gasoline.
You got a lot of work to do. China is so far ahead of any other country in each of these areas, both standard cars and EV cars. They have so many EV cars in China, they don't even know what to do with them. Some of them are sitting out in fields and rotting. So we got a long way to go there, Donald.
Powered cars. We're going to have hybrids. We're going to have electric cars. We're going to have
yeah, hybrids. Hybrids are the real solution.
Everything. The new one is hydrogen. I heard about that the other day. Hydrogen. There's one little
Steph
problem.
says sitting on the couch with a beer and whatever.
Up, you're dead.
Me?
It's great until one day
I'm
there's
in
a
the
little bit of a problem, Anthony,
super
and it
control
up.
room here.
And when that happens, it's not
on the
pretty
couch.
picture. So
might be a beer.
I think I'll take
but
a
I won't
pass
admit
on
to
that
that
one
publicly.
if you don't mind for a while. And
Because
yesterday,
Trump said
three
no
agencies
alcohol,
of the Kamala
no
Harris
cigarettes,
and Joe Biden administration,
no drugs.
the FBI, the Office of the Director
I'm
of
good for
National
one of those.
Intelligence and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they just released a
Trackpad
report
mishap,
confirming
yeah.
that Iran actors hacked into the Trump campaign's email accounts and in
fuck
turn
off.
sought to give the hacked
This is
materials
still
to
where
the
Trump
Biden-Harris
is
campaign.
blindsides
They gave
with
them
these
all of the
Republican
materials
Party
because Biden
narratives
is working with
of Iran, yeah,
and Iran doesn't
Iran,
exactly like me because they were ready to make a deal. Except we had an election that was
He's cooler
rigged and
about all this
stolen.
stuff because he'll sit down and talk
And
to
look
all
at
of
what's
them.
happening to our world now. But no,
But
Iran
he's
hacked
still
into my
blind-spotted.
campaign. I don't know what the hell they found. I'd like to find out. Couldn't have been too exciting. But they gave it to the Biden campaign. I can't believe it. Oh, yes, I can. But this is really foreign election interference. This is real election interference, not the phony crap that they've been trying to pin on me with Russia for years.
Preach.
Whatever happened to Russia? Remember the 51 intelligence agents? They said, no, the laptop from hell, it's Russia.
Yeah.
No, it was Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. He was impeached over suggesting that Hunter be investigated.
Remember that? We had to go 2.5 years, and then they finally said, all right, the Mueller.
God, we should watch
Mueller?
Metabiota.
He said,
you guys want to watch a film on
Metabiota
Metabiota
Trump
after
didn't
this?
make one to Russia.
I really
they went
want
to every
to.
phone call I made. Can you imagine? In millions of calls, not one call to me. And a lot of people apologize for that, but not enough people apologize. They wasted time and money. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars going after me, and they got nothing. They got nothing.
I had to look at the
But we
laptop
cannot
to make
allow
my
this
Hunter
insanity to
film.
continue anymore. That's why less than 2 months
I
from
wish I
now
was
we are
blind
going
after
to tell
seeing that.
Kamala that we've had enough. Kamala, you've been a terrible vice president. You will be an even worse president. We're not going to take it anymore, Kamala. Kamala,
at least
you're
he can
fired.
expose the
Get
traitors.
out. You're fired.
Ours will not release names of the traitors here in the House of Commons. So which traitors are you talking about? Are these the ones that have been
We're not going to take it anymore,
infiltrated
Kamala.
by China? What are the traitors here in the House of Commons? To me, the real traitors are the ones that are colluding with Britain and MI5 and MI6 and Five Eyes. Those are the real traitors. When are we going to hear about them?
That was a little line from The Apprentice, which I'm sure you haven't seen. What a great show. Was The Apprentice good or what?
Election interference. Yeah.
From the moment we take
Chinese
back the
election
White House from
interference.
Kamala Harris, I believe we are going to have the 4 greatest years in the
Same
history
old-
of our country.
That little picadillo.
Starting on day
Ukraine,
1, I will
China.
seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, an invasion like no country has ever seen before.
There
We will
remains to
stop
this
it
day
immediately.
zero
We will
evidence
carry
that there
out
is state-sponsored
the largest deportation operation of
interference,
criminals in American history. We're getting them out
interference
of
in our
country.
elections. Prove me wrong.
We will make America the dominant energy producer in the world by
Bunch of
far. We
bullshit
have more
leaks
than
from
anybody else.
CSIS.
And we have
And you
literally,
watched
we have
the,
more. Think of it. We have more than Saudi
Matthew Ehret
Arabia. We
videos
have
with
more
me
than
about how
anybody
trustworthy
else, especially
CSIS
when
is.
you add Anwar in Alaska, which we will reinstitute
But any
immediately.
investigation
We're going
into
to use it.
Chinese
Along with
election
growth,
interference,
we are going to grow,
Chinese
grow,
weather
grow
balloons,
to start paying
Chinese
down our
police
debt. We have
stations,
$35 trillion
Chinese
in national debt. We're all set to
genocide
do it.
of the
And then we got
Uyghurs,
hit by COVID.
yada,
we had
yada,
to
yada.
focus on
None of
that.
it holds
And then
up.
we gave back. You know, I got great marks on the military. We took out ISIS.
Yeah, Michael Chong,
wiped out
and it's like
ISIS,
this thing
100%.
that somewhere like Burnaby.
We did it in 4 weeks. It was supposed
running
to
for
take
like
4 years, 5
the
years.
election, and supposedly
And I got
there's
great
like
marks in the economy.
Chinese
Never
people
got great
involved
marks
with
in COVID
boosting him
because they
and
didn't want to give them
stuff,
to
and
me.
it's
But the
you
fact
know,
is,
I mean, it's just
we
like
did an
but there's
unbelievable
no
job.
actual
Nobody
proof.
knew
There's
what the hell
nothing
it was. It
that
came from
proves
China.
that there's state-sponsored
It
action
came from the
to get
Wuhan
Michael
lab. I
Chong
said all
voted
these
in.
things. And we did an unbelievable job, and we handed over a country whose stock market was higher than it was just prior to COVID
evidence,
coming
evidence,
in.
evidence.
And amazing. But we
He's
did
in
have to
Ontario.
focus
Maybe
on
I'm
that.
mixing up
Think
the
of what China
stories.
did
Forgive
to
me.
us.
It's, you know,
The world.
I got my head in a lot
has
of different
$60
things, and the
trillion
names I don't stick with
and
me.
millions
But the
and
general
millions
idea
of
is that
people
the
dead
guy's running,
over that
and
disaster.
then there's like,
Think of that.
you know,
the
like
whole world.
kind of
Even
like
China
immigrant
suffered very much. They suffered at
Chinese
the
that
end
push
more than
for
almost anybody.
a certain guy to get
I will
elected,
turn the United States
and that's
into a
actually,
manufacturing superpower
you know,
more
the
than it has ever been
CCP,
before.
as we
We're
call
gonna
them
bring back
here,
the car industry.
are doing that, and there is literally no evidence that the CCP does anything like
We're
that
going to bring
at
back
all
the car industry.
at a state level.
Other countries
And
that make us
the one
pay a
instance
tax
in
to do
Canada
business with them
where
will
we
be
had
charged the same tax when
a
they send
fully
their product
open
into the United
investigation,
States.
kind of like the
We
Mueller
have countries,
investigation,
not only China,
where
many countries,
someone was
many
given
of them are
access
allies.
to
Some
all
worst
of the
trading
information and all
countries
the evidence
are allies.
that CSIS had
Don't
collected.
let that word
Came to the conclusion that
surprise
there
you.
was zero
They're
evidence
allies.
that there's
They're friends of ours,
state-sponsored
and they
action.
take advantage of us
There might be
horribly
all
on the
sorts of
military
shit
with
going
NATO
on.
and on trade.
Certainly.
It will be called
But
the
there's
Trump
no evidence that
Reciprocal
the
Trade Act, and if
Communist Party
China,
of China
or any
is
other
doing
country charges
anything
us
on
a
a
200 or 100
targeted
or
level,
300% tax,
state-sponsored.
then we will charge them a
Nothing.
like
To this
100,
day, there's no
200, 300% tax in return.
His family in Hong Kong was pressured. Maybe,
You
right?
charge us,
But I mean,
we charge you.
Where's the evidence that that's President Z is like?
And my message
this
is very
guy in
simple.
Ontario.
Make your
let's go,
product
get him. Like
right here in
there's
Uniondale.
nothing.
Make
There's
your
still
product in
nothing.
America.
And I'm open to it.
Make your product in America.
My God,
And
we
only
live in
America.
nations
And
where
if you
we
do that,
fuck around with
Bruce, you won't have to
everybody
pay a
else's
tax.
elections
And
around
they'll
the
be
world.
coming in here like you wouldn't believe, right?
I
The
don't
worst that happens,
doubt
we'll
for a
take a lot
second
of
that
money,
Russia
but
and
we don't
China
even
have
want that. We
spies
want
and have
them to
networks,
make
and
their
they
product. We're gonna
try
bring
to
back the
get
auto
maybe
industry.
their guy
Right
that
now,
they think might be
China's
cooler.
building
They might
some of
do
the
something.
largest auto
I'm
plants
totally
in the
open
world,
to
and
it.
they're building them in
I'm not
Mexico.
against it, and
And
I'm
they
not
think they're
like
gonna
trying
build
to
these
sell
massive
everyone on
plants.
China or Russia.
Literally
But there
the
is
biggest in the
zero
world. They're gonna
evidence
make
linking
millions
the
of
Communist
cars
Party
and
of
sell them
China
without tax
with any
across
of
our
these
border.
actions.
We will put a
It's
tariff
entirely an
on all of
invention
those cars
of the
to a
paranoid
point where
right
they
wing.
won't be able to sell them because we
We
want
have-
them
we
to
have
build their plants
much
in
more
the United
concrete
States
things to deal
and
with.
hire many of
And a
the
strong
people in this
Canada,
audience, and that's what's
a
going to
strong
happen.
populous Canada will automatically just exclude anyone that's obviously being backed
And we also
by
have
some kind of
something
state-sponsored.
that's basic, but wow. People said, you're
It
really
came out in the
smart.
House
Where
of
the hell
Commons.
did
No,
you
it
think
didn't.
of this one?
Evidence
No
didn't come out in the House of
tax on
Commons.
tips.
They talked about it,
So
but
if you're a waitress, a
evidence
caddy,
has not come out.
a driver,
There's no evidence for any of these allegations against
But
China,
maybe better,
Russia, Iran.
no
None of them.
tax
There's no
on
evidence.
overtime.
But I await it. If somebody shows me evidence, I'll be the first to be like, yeah, fuck China. Yeah,
And we'll
fuck
get it
around.
done.
Let's go.
We'll get
But
it done. Unlike him with
it's not.
student
There's
loan
no
debt
evidence.
that went
There's
nowhere. Just
quote unquote
talk. We'll
evidence
I get
from
it all done.
George Soros
Remember what
non-governmental
they say,
organizations.
promises
and shit.
made, promises
Complete
kept.
bullshit
That's me.
that's submitted
And
to
ready?
the UN, and then
Here's
the UN
for the
declares that
seniors.
China
Do we
is
have any
evil and doing
seniors in
this
the
and
audience?
that.
Raise
and-
your hand.
and
You ready?
we on the right we're so
tax
skeptical of
on
reports that come
Social
out from
Security
United Nations and
benefits.
UNESCO.
No
But
tax on
if it accuses
Social
China of
Security
something,
benefits.
we're like, yeah, fuck, let's go. Yeah,
And you know why you
UN.
deserve it?
We love the UN
Because
now.
you lived like hell with the highest inflation probably in the
hypocritical.
history of our country, and you couldn't make ends meet. Now you're not going to have to pay tax on your Social Security benefit. And I will always protect Social Security and Medicare, and they won't. They're going to destroy it. They're putting the migrants all over the place, including there.
The
And while
migrants.
working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates. We're going to cap it at around 10%. We can't let them make 25 and 30%. We will terminate the Green New Scam and spend trillions of dollars. We're going to take the Green New Scam, one of the greatest scams in the history of our country. Remember when they used to say global warming? They don't say that anymore. They say climate change because the planet's actually getting cooler.
Oh, nice. Here we go. Yes.
Climate change,
Yes.
Chuck. Climate change is different. Just Chuck Zito. Oh, I feel
What's he
safe with him
doing?
in the front row. Are you afraid of
Is
climate
that
change,
super
Chuck?
Italian black hair
'Cause
dye
now
job?
it's no longer
Zito. I
global
called it
warming
Italian.
because that wasn't working
Chuck Zito
so
knows.
well, because it was getting cooler. Now it's climate change because
Yep.
that covers if it's warmer, it's
Yep.
cooler.
Oh,
We're
yes.
going to take all
Preach.
of that money. We're going to take it.
Yes.
And we're going to rebuild. We're going to take this money from the Green New Scam.
Yes,
It's the
let's.
Green New Scam, one of the
I
greatest
just posted
scams
about
in
this
history.
today. Here we
And
go.
we're going to spend it on roads and bridges and real infrastructure.
Yes. Oh my God, infrastructure. Oh, I'm just getting such a beautiful populist erection. Here we go. I just posted this today, ladies and gentlemen. We bring you the end result of every green subsidy program that has ever and will ever be enacted. Ottawa mismanaging green subsidies, says audit. Our good friend Stephen Gibault they just investigated his ministry independently, and no one knows where the money's going. It's like the Pentagon $2 trillion missing in Canada. Everybody gets a green subsidy. All our buddies get a green subsidy. Don't really have to be green. Don't really have to be environmental. Blah, blah, blah. And here's Trump going on like, let's take that money and put it in infrastructure. Yes. Yes, brother.
And we're going to pay down debt, not fake infrastructure that's caused massive inflation and has no benefit whatsoever for our country. And I will settle the war in Ukraine. I got along very well with Putin and Zelensky. And I will end the chaos.
You guys ever see that footage of when Putin came and met Trump? I mean, Putin's just glowing with smiles. Like they really got along, you know, and it doesn't mean they have to agree on everything, but they really got along. And it's like here's a path to peace.
In the Middle East, a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote to obliterate Israel. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, God.
Israel.
Yeah. Pandering to the right. Here we go.
Israel will not exist in 2 years. And by the way, we are closer to World War III right now than at any time during anybody's life in this beautiful room. I will stand with Israel and we will return a thing called peace through strength. And we're going to get it settled. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. We're not going to have war in the Middle East. We're not going to have war with Russia and Ukraine. You know, when I was there, we didn't have any war other than ISIS. I finished them off. We knocked out al-Baghdadi, the founder of ISIS. Think of that. We knocked them off. It was supposed to take 4 to 5 years. I did it in 4 weeks. General Raisin Kane, what's your name? Kane, sir, what's your first name? Well, they call me Raisin. I said, your name is Raisin Kane. That's the general I was looking. He did it in 4 weeks. The Russian attack on Ukraine and the October 7th attack on Israel would never have happened if I was president. Would never have happened. Think of what the world would be, and think of what our nation would be with no Russia-Ukraine war, no October 7th disaster in Israel, And the Middle East, it's inflamed right now. It's inflamed like nobody's seen it for 50 years. No inflation and energy dominance. That's what it would have, energy dominance. We'd have no inflation. We wouldn't have either the Middle East or the Russia, Ukraine. What a different world it would be, wouldn't it be? Oh, we can't let them cheat on elections anymore. We can't let it happen. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Right now, we have a capital that when you go down there, you have a damn good chance of being hurt, mugged, something. And we will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. We're losing that, but I'll keep it. I'll keep it. China wants to take it over, and if that happened to us, that would be like losing a war. That would be the biggest thing. That would make us a third world country. We will keep our dollar as the reserve currency. Remember, I said it, and it will be easy. It'll be easy. But this is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe, and unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. That's what we're going to do. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Very simple. Right? We will stop the invasion, end migrant crime, support our police, strengthen our military. I want to wish a happy 77th birthday to the United States Air Force. And if you remember, I created Space Force, which was the last since Air Force, which will soon be 5 years old. Space Force has turned out to be very important. We will build a missile defense shield around our country, keep critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools, and we will keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections, and we will secure our borders. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and the crooked Democrats, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. So get everyone you know and vote. We want a landslide that is very simply too big to rig. Too big to rig. Right, Bruce? Too big to rig. Joe, too big to rig. Too big to rig, Joe. I think we can do that, too. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will put America first, and we will take back our country, because together we will make America powerful again, make America wealthy again, make America healthy again, make America strong again, make America proud again, make America safe again, make America free again, and we will make America great again. Thank you very much. We love New York. Love New York.
You know, when he starts playing the Make America
God bless
accordion,
Nice
you know the end is coming.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, there we go. So, what do you think? What's your take on how we did tonight? I'm still remembering, you know, a few speeches from 2016 that really blew my mind. Still like to see some of that. We'll go through some of the news. So we got that. I broke the chain and showed you the Stephen Jabot. He found guilty of misappropriating millions of dollars of taxpayer funds. Let's I took this opportunity to reply and include Cynthia Chung's documentary about the climate scam. Let's watch that. Trailer.
We have to prepare for a more angry world.
It is common in our modern day and age to hear the phrase zero sum. This theory of zero sum first originated with the advent of game theory, the mathematical theory of games of strategy.
The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero.
But can we be certain that we do live in a zero-sum world governed by limited resources and selfish self-interests? After all, it is acknowledged by the theorists themselves that the entire functioning of their mathematical model relies upon the assumption that we are governed by selfishness.
Yeah, Cynthia's a beast. God, that 5-second shot going into the cave, that was like a week of me trying to figure out how to fucking do that. I can't tell you guys enough how much it takes to make a video look good. It's just absolutely wild. To quickly touch on this, because I posted on it and ended up making a big thread, and this is mostly, I know, like our crew are mostly worried about politics and medicine and lockdowns and Trudeau and whatever, but I maintain that the gaming community, a bunch of, like morons and kids that are up there just shooting things on screens, they're now going through like a convoy moment. And so today from IGN, one of the, probably the biggest company involved with, quote unquote, reviewing video games, have been increasingly, gamers are becoming aware that they're a political organization backing identity politics and working hand in hand with, DEI consultant companies to use their power to pressure companies into making sure that they do DEI consulting. So here we got my intro with IGN proving the theory that they are the shakedown men for the far left as they try to publicly shame CEO of Saber Interactive, developer of the wildly successful, totally not woke video game Space Marines 2, for commenting on an Asmongold video. Asmongold is a creator famous for his World of Warcraft videos, but now probably more famous for just commenting on other people's videos and social commentary and such. And he's not, ultra right or anything. He just, no bullshit, he just wants good games. And he'll say so. And that makes him an enemy of companies like IGN, which is just staffed top to bottom with Marxist university grads. So there's the screen cap of their article. Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 developers Saber Interactive won't say whether or not a quote-unquote controversial quote YouTube comment is from its CEO. And this is, the game just came out, doing really well, 250,000 people, all-time peak playing it, yada yada. So what's the crime of this guy? His first crime? Watching Asmongold videos. IGN and radical leftist video developers and consultants have been trying to cancel Asmongold for a decade. So they include that, they put that up front in their article. Second crime, wanting to make video games free from modern day ideology. So here is the comment underneath Asmongold's video. It's Matthew Karch. Hey man, CEO of Saber here. I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which, by its nature, was old school. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They are too complex and too much of an investment. We worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loops, but it was entirely addicting. That is what we wanted to recapture. I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Wukong, Black Myth Wukong, we'll get to that in a sec, are the start of a reversion to a time when games were simply about fun and immersion. I spent some time as CEO at Embracer Group, which is a huge developer or publisher, and I saw games there that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. We just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, that is what games should be about. So that's one of the first crimes. Bonus points for praising Black Myth Wukong. Bonus points is in bonus negative IGN points. A game they tried to smear with unfounded sexual thought crimes after the Chinese devs refused to hire DEI consultants. The Chinese developers of Black Myth Wukong turned down Sweet Baby Inc., a company that's secretly being run out of Vancouver that Canadian taxpayer dollars have been paying for, that asked for $7 million from these developers of this game to go through their script and make sure that it was quote-unquote inclusive. And the Chinese developers said, fuck you. It's a game about ancient Chinese monkey gods. We don't need inclusion. Go fuck yourself. And immediately, IGN, as soon as they refused, IGN was up the next day with an article about Black Myth Wukong developers' history of sexism. Do you see how this racket works? You have the DEI people come in and say, let's make sure your video game, and before you get distracted and think that I'm being a gamer, this applies to media of all kinds. This applies to the movies that you've been seeing and you fucking hate. This applies to how they've destroyed the Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, these founding myths of our culture. They've destroyed them because they have hired companies like Sweet Baby Inc. When they said no, IGN went right to work and put out stories that somehow the Chinese developers were sexist. But that ended up being because they used a South Korean to translate Chinese posts, mistranslated it in the worst light to make it sound as if this developer was horribly misogynistic. When in fact there are videos up. I won't do it right now. I don't want to get sidetracked. There's a wicked Chinese girl who blew up who retranslated it and explained the social context. There's nothing wrong with what they did. And, by the way, Black Myth Wukong is the biggest release of... Oh, that's the wrong picture. Oh, I fucked up my pictures. Oh, on my post. God, don't you hate when you do this? This number here should be 10 times as much. The peak all time was almost 3 million people. That's the chart for the Space Marine game. The actual Wukong chart is the biggest launch of 2024. But IGN and these woke review companies that are treated as if they're the kings of journalism, they would rather we play their kind of games, like ultra-Marxist, Norwegian, and EU taxpayer-funded Dustborn. Oh, that's Concord. Dustborn. There we go. The all-time peak of people playing. Remember, Black Myth Wukong was almost 3 million. All-time peak for Norwegian and European Union taxpayer-funded game was 83 people out of probably getting close to 1 billion people that use this site. 83 people played it. But IGN gave it a 7 out of 10 and said it was great. Or the recently released 8-year, $200 million plus the $1 billion that Sony spent to buy the developer that made this game, Concord. It's even worse. 700 people. After 9 days, they announced they were taking the game down. It was that much of a flop. And it's total woke crap. Everybody's brown and a girl. There isn't a single white man that you can play in that game, and it's supposed to be like a hero shooter. Therefore, I suggest gamers should, as most of us reasonable people have, walk away from these political action committees masquerading as news journals. Don't go to them for news. Don't watch their trailers. Ignore them forever. IGN, Kotaku, Mary Sue, blah, blah, blah. And we already know, those of us politically involved, don't pay the slightest attention to what the CBC tells you. Don't pay the slightest attention to what any of these assholes tells you. My God. And gamers are learning this. It's coming to the mainstream. They're having their convoy moment. There's never been any release by any major company where they've had numbers like that, where only 700 people are playing across the entire world. There's never been anything like that in the history of gaming. So it's almost the equivalent to the convoy. Hey, we're getting there. Yeah, so I think that's just about the news today on Twitter. I want to make sure I've gone through all the interesting moments. Haha, Mike B, yo! Don't have the PPC to try any of these new games. Never mind the DIBS. Yeah. Well, Canada's sitting right at the fucking center of this. The biggest DEI consultant on video games is out of Vancouver and is taking our money, millions of our tax dollars, to fuck up video games. It's a crime. Yeah, and we got good old Pierre. So I'm happy with him. I think this is great. Like day one, just put forward some kind of bullshit legislation, and let's vote on it and get a no confidence vote. And he's immediately ratting out the Bloc Québécois. For our American viewers, we have a party in Quebec that is entirely dedicated to separating Quebec from the country. And they're so popular, they've been universally voted for and won all federal elections since, 87? Something like that? Almost 40 years. They vote a separatist party into power. And they're the first to turn down the Conservative Party here. Because if you put up a table legislation and the majority of Parliament votes against it, you can then force for a no confidence vote, it's called, and actually destroy the party that's in power immediately. This is a big shocker for American people. It's really different up here how Parliament works compared to Congress. Day to day, it's very similar, but in the actual rules, very different. So just by tabling this legislation today, which I think is on its surface about the carbon tax, that has, made groceries 5 times more expensive up here. If enough of any parties in the Parliament voted with the Conservatives, they could bring down the entire government and force a vote tomorrow.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, They've doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, caused the worst
Sorry if it's
inflation
quiet. It's
in
fucking
40
quiet.
years, sent 2
Jeez.
million
What's
people
wrong with people?
to the food bank, unleashed crime and chaos in our communities. That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. A carbon tax election needed because the NDP Liberals plan to hike the carbon tax by 300%, all the way to 61 cents a litre.
Yep.
Which would cripple our economy.
Yep.
But hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs. Mean empty shelves at grocery stores. We need a carbon tax election so Canadians can vote to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime with a common sense conservative government.
Hasn't the bloc
finished? If I could just finish. The decision will be up to Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. Are they going to vote to keep this costly carbon tax prime minister in power? Are they going to sell out again, or are they going to vote to trigger a carbon tax election so that Canadians?
So this is a good angle. This is exactly what he should be doing. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there's really nothing you can ever fault Pierre Poilievre on the way that he does his politics and as a campaigner. I mean, the guy, he took like a 4-minute interview when the Freedom Convoy was here and turned that into a landslide takeover of the Conservative Party here in Canada. The guy he's got a sharp as shit mind and great memory and can spout off. He's totally down. He's got a team that totally knows how to get catchphrases going, carbon tax election, and he's so good at this stuff, you know. So, you know, strength to him, but
this is needed because the NDP Liberals plan.
This is a show, because as we'll find out shortly, the Bloc Québécois has refused to back this.
To hike the carbon tax by 300%, all the way to 61 cents a litre, which would cripple our economy, put hundreds of thousands of people out of jobs, mean empty shelves at grocery stores. We need a carbon tax election so Canadians can vote to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime with a common sense conservative government.
Hasn't the bloc
finished? If I could just finish. The decision will be up to Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. Are they going to vote to keep this costly carbon tax prime minister in power? Are they going to sell out again, or are they going to vote to trigger a carbon tax election so that Canadians can choose to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime? And I also call on the NDP, don't wait for the Bloc to bail you out.
You need
announce
the bloc,
your position on this motion.
This is smart. This is good politics, right? So, I mean, none of them, I think, is thinking that they'll put legislation forward and the entire Trudeau government will collapse. But they're forcing everyone. The NDP, who is holding up the Liberal Party in Canada, has said openly, and the entire reason that he gave was that the Liberal Party's completely just captured by corporations and big government and big grocery and stuff, and so we can no longer have a coalition with them, and broke away. So very smart for Poilievre to immediately table legislation that could force a vote, but I don't think they have the slightest dream that it's going to. No one's going to vote with them. Not yet. Not yet. But this should be the first of many attempts by the Conservatives to force a no confidence. At some point, the continued shaming. I watch leftist X and Twitter all the time, and they're so mad at Singh for abandoning the coalition with the Liberals that it's a prime time to get some of those angry fuckers and get revenge on Singh. So this is good. It's good. Nothing will come of it, but it's good, and expose the Bloc Québécois, the Quebec separatists that are in federal power, that are a huge power in Parliament. They refuse to back Poilievre, and that's going to come back to haunt them.
Now, you have the motion. It's in your inbox. We're emailing it to him now. And all of you will have that
but the
motion
carbon
for our
tax
carbon
stop
tax
fires and
election,
floods. I know,
which
it's
you'll
so
see
magical.
is very direct, very
It made
simple,
everything perfect.
and provides Canadians
except
hope that we
for
can bring
food
home
prices.
the country that we knew and love, where we axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop.
Monsieur Poilievre, le gouvernement.
Like, woof. Like, boom, he's off to the fucking elevator. All right, let's go, buddy. Yeah, so, you know, things are hotting up here. We are a year behind because the parliamentary system allows for kind of like a 5-ish year reign of a party. So we're like a kind of a year behind. We can go all the way to October next year without having to have an election. But what the Conservatives, for our American viewers, I know this is weird shit. If the opposition party, the Conservatives, can get a house-wide vote on any legislation, and it fails, they can trigger a no-confidence vote. And then if all the parties that disagree with the Liberals vote against the Liberals, it's an instant collapse of government, instant forced election. So we have a very different system. In America, you guys are on the 4-year cycle, and you absolutely know when the election's coming. In Canada and Britain and Commonwealth nations, we're all just like, is there going to be election? Is there going to be election? And the people in power at the time can call an election at any moment. Any moment. That's why we had like 3 elections in 5 years, I think, here. So it's very different up here. So now that the Conservative Party is the obvious winner of all polls everywhere, even like hippie British Columbia and Vancouver are voting overwhelmingly Conservative. They now have the opportunity to make this happen. So that's the power play that's going on here in Canada. Super, super interesting. And so let's go to like a really heartwarming thing before we do any more darkness. I just had to clip these and post them again. It's Donald Trump. I wish I had video of a Canadian doing this kind of stuff, but I mean, this guy with kids, I can't get over the fact, and this isn't just, you know, stupid party emotionalism. The guy, I think, is really, really, truly like a good father. Probably in a bizarre way. I bet, like, as his son, you probably have to put up with listening to a bunch of bullshit and, you know, probably getting yelled at a couple times, but he just seems like a really loving guy, and it's kind of hard to reconcile with his public persona, who's supposed to be this hard-ass motherfucker. But I think he really, truly loves kids, and he's really good with them. Let's watch one of these.
Come here.
Man, why can't I get it full
Come
screen?
here.
Let's go.
You know, this is what people ask. What do I tell? I said to my kids, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. Raise your hands, kids.
God, if I had listened to all 3 of those, I'd probably be a billionaire.
That I will never take drugs. I don't want to say no alcohol, but take it easy on the alcohol. Right? And you know what else?
And the kids are all like, do we say all of this? We have our hands up. Do we have to say everything you're saying? I don't want to say no alcohol. Anyway.
No cigarettes, right? All right,
Fuck, you're
kids,
right, Trump. Jesus Christ, as I light up another cigarette.
And when you get older, what are you going to remember? No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes.
Come here. You know, this is
Yeah,
what
wow.
people
Okay, so feel-good moment number 1. Let's go to feel-good moment
I'm
number
supposed to be
2.
in that stage, but that doesn't matter. Because I got you the best president you'll ever have. This is the best president
Let's see the
you'll
context
ever
here.
have. How are you, Bob? Hi, Mom. Okay, honey, this is yours.
Visiting this kid with this horrible degenerate disease.
Okay? So beautiful. See, look at that. Look at these great photographers. And we're going to that picture of a life, okay? You and I. Is she going to come out and watch me?
Of course.
Because I left the stage in order to come and say hello there.
How special you are.
Okay, honey? So beautiful. So you take care of mom and dad? This is your sister, right?
I love how he puts that. Like, he's talking to the kid, and he's like, "Are you gonna take care of mom and dad?" That's so good. So good for boys to hear that. I love that kind of nurturing. You know, like when dad's away, you're the man of the house kind of attitude. I love that. Absolutely love that. We need more of that.
Scare of us a lot right here.
Oh, and look, mom's barely holding it together. She's just gonna like melt into a ball of tears.
Take care of yourselves, okay? I'm gonna go right out there. Take care of yourself, honey, okay? I wish I looked like that. If I looked like that, I'd be president. I'm supposed to be.
If I looked like that, I'd be president. Like, what a dude. It just gets, you know, I mean, I had lots of trouble with Trump when he started running. It's just when you get into these micro moments that don't really get pushed out. I find stuff like this completely by accident, that he's doing this shit all the time. And you know, you remember the Republican National Congress, after the assassination attempt, the first one, and just seeing the outpouring of love from his family. And of course, you expect that. It's still a political show. But just, you know, the tears were flowing. And I just think he's a really great dad. And I'm open to the idea that he's a psyop. I don't mind. That can be proven to me with a lot of evidence. I just think he really believes what he's saying. Steph says, I had no issues with Trump from the time he came down the escalator. Yeah, right? I gotta say I agree with you, because I didn't have evidence otherwise. I didn't think he was fake or there was anything going on, but I was suspicious. I was skeptical. Skeptical is the right idea. And then I kind of warmed up, but I still kind of treated him as a meme. But then as I got onto Rumble and I could actually see some of the speeches he was giving in 2016 at length, some of the stuff he was saying was mind-boggling. And I was just getting ready for the stream tonight, trying to find one of those speeches where he was talking about taking wealth from the bankers and bringing it back to the people of America. But I mean, you know, search on the internet is now so corrupted. I couldn't even find this thing. So I'll get it ready for the next stream, but because I saved it to our what's that app called? Flipboard. We had a good Flipboard going during the Trump 1 campaign. We saved a bunch of shit, but you can't search it, so I'm gonna have to flip through it like one article at a fucking time just to find this speech that really changed my entire outlook on Trump, where I thought that he was more or less like, he's okay, but he just wants to be president and gain power. Is kind of how I looked at it at the start. But there are a couple speeches by him in 2016 that completely changed my view. They were so eloquent, and they were so for the people and so against, you know, globalist bankers and stuff, like, and so aware and so well said. And these never get shown, and now you try to search this. Even on sites that say that they're like nonpartisan and freedom-loving, free speech search sites, they're still just crawling Google, and Google is working night and day to kill anything good about Trump. So it's really hard to find. It's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a situation. When I put in, you know, 9/11 in 2001 into the internet, I would get 2, you know, kind of CNN, MSNBC articles, and then the entire thing would just fill up with conspiracy theories about 9/11. And you could go and you could find people and you could find counter arguments and stuff. Now, you put in 9/11 into Google or Brave search, which is supposed to be a big revolution, or Yandex, which is supposed to be the Russian, you know, counter populist search engine, or any of these apps that come out, all they're doing is just recrawling Google. Nothing comes up. You can't find any of this shit. It takes pages and pages. It takes real time to find any counter information anymore whatsoever. And I weep thinking of that there is an entire generation and now a half generation under me that are just going to grow up with this, and their argument against anything that I have to say is just going to be, well, I searched it and there's nothing like that. Everything that CBC and MSNBC is absolutely true. It's like I searched it. I couldn't find anything. Fuck. Okay, so one of the big points of tonight was to watch Trump, and then let's get to my latest video, which is a new experiment, trying out the freeform application that comes with the last iOS and macOS updates. And I thought I was angry about it. I'm like, really? I'm paying this much, and this is supposed to be some kind of feature? Then I looked at it. It's actually a really good, like, conspiracy pinboard kind of thing. So 10 minutes, let's watch the vid. I found some parallels going on through history. See if you guys agree.
This is the first of a series of Latin listening post interviews with persons more or less directly concerned with the conflict between the United States and Cuba. In subsequent programs, we will present talks with people who are connected with the Cuban refugee organizations, people who are connected with President Batista, and U.S. citizens with direct stakes in the outcome of the Cuban situation.
The Ukrainians have a right to fight back.
I don't do paper, though.
I don't care if you do paper or not. I'm looking for revolutionaries. For people who want to take this whole system down.
Bro, I'm a veteran. Like, do you need me?
What kind of veteran are you?
Bro, I served in Newtown.
Well, I think it's better to serve and fight in the powers, fucking over the system.
Bro, give me a Glock and a Hellcat.
Take a look at that.
Bro, but I don't do paper, though. I just told you that.
Dude, then get away. We don't need people who aren't serious.
You're not. I'm serious, but I don't do paper, bro. You're literally killing the environment.
You're literally killing the environment. Like watching two fucking bags fuck, but who's gayer?
Living here just finished raising this house about a month ago, and it's a good thing because
so like this guy has been considering everyone watching, you know, you're a citizen. How often have you been profiled in nationally broadcast or nationally publicized media in your entire life? This guy, I'm not even showing all of it. This guy has had major events happen over and over again over 40 years. He's been in media. What the fuck?
Chances are what you see in the yard here would have likely inundated the house. Just off Kamehameha Highway in Ka'ava, this is what Ryan Ruth's front yard looks like one day after powerful thunderstorms rocked Oahu's windward coast.
And we had building materials under the house, so all the lumber under the house started floating out into the...
Not that I'm not a communist, and I think that the red herring and so forth is rather ridiculous to toss into this conversation.
So they get this guy openly espousing Marxist values, handing out leaflets, and then he moves to Russia in the 60s. Marxist activist in Russia, but he's totally allowed to come back. That's fine. Ryan Ruth goes to Ukraine.
Good morning. Most wonder what I'm doing in Ukraine. This is about
Ukraine.
To help people when they come from other countries around the world.
This guy's in Taiwan as well, hiring mercenaries. What the fuck? Lee Harvey Oswald's handler in Texas. Full-on CIA. But too bad he died of a shotgun wound to the head in his house. Yeah, it was suicide. Oh, too bad. And this is the building in New Orleans that Oswald was handing out pamphlets from. But it had a different address because it was around the corner. 544 Camp Street is where Fair Play for Cuba came out of. But not 30 feet away, you go to 531 Lafayette Street, same building, and you got an FBI employee who is the most ardent anti-communist, running a secretive operation out of 531 Lafayette Street in the same building. So upstairs, these guys would have been like 10 doors away from each other. And Jim Garrison from, Oliver Stone's JFK, this is one of the people that he charged. Assistant Superintendent with FBI. So I put a little correction in here, but so you get to these X profiles because these are people that were following Ryan Roth and he was following them. Now, Sue Kim, so this is a weirdo, ex-CIA. She puts it in her profile. And in her profile, LMI.org, RAND Corporation, SIAS Strat. Just puts it out there. So there they are, SIAS. Here's their website. John Hopkins, ring a bell, anyone? Do I have to nudge your memory? Event. John Hopkins ran all the tabletop events that led right up to COVID. And this guy is an actual director of the CIA. He's the head of this. Dirty fucker.
Officials in Kiev simply aren't interested in recruiting them.
Ukraine is reluctant to be cooperative.
That's Ryan Ruth, a U.S. citizen who set up the International Volunteer Center in Ukraine.
It's really hard, but the purpose of the action is to appeal to world leaders. What
Fucking Rand Corporation. Holy shit. Talk about military industrial.
Came in through statements attributed to Lee Oswald's wife, who is still in seclusion, being questioned further by federal authorities. She's reported to have told them that one night last April, Oswald returned home and boasted that he had shot at Walker.
So we had a General Walker from the Army, I believe. Oswald came home and told his wife that he fired shots at General Walker, and this was a huge media event. I would have included more in this, but you know, I mean, we got time constraints, and this was a huge event. There was attempted assassination on General Walker, and Oswald claimed that it was him, his wife.
There was such a shooting last April. That much is fact.
And Ruth has a rap sheet as long as my arm. Locked himself into his own business with a bomb. Plus all sorts of driving infractions, drinking infractions, gun infractions. Absolutely wild. Those are the actual charges for Oswald after the assassination arrest. Disturbing the peace by creating a scene, assassinating President of the United States, murder of a Dallas police officer. One of these nights, I'm going to run a stream in a space where we really look into this. There are some incredible theories about what happened to the officer Tippett that was shot that night. So he might have been waiting there for half a day. Openly released and photographed sniper's nest. Yep, Jack. Now we're getting into the area of future speculation. Are we going to see the same things that happened to Oswald?
In the wake of the Kennedy assassination, the Dallas police, on the one hand,
So for a lesson for all of those of you watching that would like to have a YouTube channel, I got away. I paid for all the music that's on this. Very carefully chose songs from my libraries that I pay for. But this 1 minute that I used of the CNN footage, just to show Harvey Oswald having a press conference, that was immediately detected and flagged on YouTube. So, got to be careful.
They were committing all of the resources to trying to solve a crime. On the other hand, they were ill-equipped to handle this tsunami of reporters.
That says, believe Florida governor not releasing group feds that a while back. Right. Haven't heard anything from DeSantis. Very interesting. And so are we going to press conference? Or is anyone going to talk about Ruth? That's what I want to know. That's the first break in history. And then we move to the assassin being conveniently killed.
Let me have it. I want it. Captain Fritz. There is Lee.
Fucking shot with like 1,000 policemen around. Somehow Jack Rubenstein gets into the parking garage of the Dallas police force and shoots this guy, and they're all surprised. Come on. Oh, and then he dies 3 years later from turbo cancer. Nothing to see here. Move on. Yeah, will Ruth die conveniently? Will that be maintained? You can scan the QR code here. All this is a QR code to like our link in the bio, just to make sure you're connected, following. The bell is rung. You are clicking on the QR code above my avatar to support us on Locals. You can join locals.com without paying a cent. Just get in there and you can get notified when we do cool shit. At the bottom, you can buy smokes, 10 packs for $39 at Smokes Canada. And we might be done for the night, people. Is there any other news that we didn't give justice to? Oh, God. Okay, let's watch Chris Cuomo's...
That's why I reached out to Trump. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on.
Fucking asshole. Remember what you were saying when the lockdowns were going on and you and Don Lemon were on there like, yeah, deport them all, fucking kill them all if they don't get the vax. Fuck you, Chris Cuomo. Though, I'm just being angry. At the same time, he does say, I'm sorry. So we need to allow for that. We do need to allow for people to come to their wits and say they're sorry. But this guy, I don't know, we'll see.
And it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job. And he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this. A guy pointing an AK-47 at him while he's playing golf? And we take solace in the fact that the guy didn't get any rounds off. If I had been through what that guy's been through in the last 2 months, you would not know where I am. You would never see me on TV again. No way I would do that. I don't know how he does it. He's got kids, they're adults, but he's got grandkids. He's got a wife. People giving crap to Melania Trump, worrying about whether or not there was a plot around his husband. How could she not? People mock her.
Yeah, well, good for you, Chris.
And then her husband has a guy pointed with an AK.
I just went off on this while we were watching Trump speak. Poor Melania, right? Like, I don't. The guy's like, fuck, man. This makes me angry because, like, he seems like he's all right, but in the midst of the quote-unquote pandemic, in the midst of the lockdowns and the martial law, he was advocating and casting aspersions on any of us that had any questions, but he got caught going out and breaking quarantine and jogging and doing whatever the fuck he wanted. Only now, 3 years later, is he like, oh, mea culpa, because he thinks he can get a bigger audience when he eventually has to move to Rumble. Fucking asshole.
47, where are those people apologizing? That's what it's time for. We are playing a dangerous game with ourselves. He is not a despot in waiting. Okay? I don't buy it. You gotta care when somebody tries to kill somebody. I've told you this before, and I've learned the lesson so many times myself around the world. Either you care when anyone is hurt, or you'll never really care about anyone being hurt.
You know, it's like all well said, but 3 years too late. Where was your backbone? Where was your backbone when it was going down? Anybody can be strong and controversial a couple years later about mandatory lockdowns, about mandatory injections with experimental medicine. But once you get injected, it's too fucking late. So Cuomo has a lot more to answer for, and he's going to have to do a lot more before he wins me back. That being said, you know, the actual words that he's saying are good, and they feel like it's honest. And he literally said, I think I cut it off at the start, he literally starts by apologizing to Donald Trump because he feels that no one deserves to be shot at. And he recognizes the rhetoric that he took part in 2020 had led directly to him being shot at. So that's something to be praised. So I'll give the guy, he's got an opening in my heart, but it's a tiny opening. It's like it's only slightly bigger than my clogged artery to my heart. So interesting day on Parliament Hill today. Big like sing fight, and very disappointing ending. Let's see what this is.
Crooked bastard.
Crooked bastard, someone yelled out.
Want to say something? What? You want to say something? You say nothing? What does it mean? That? You got something to say?
I didn't say corrupted bastard, but I
said... Is that what you said?
No, I did not say that.
What I don't get in all of this is that there's obviously only like 3 or 4 people there filming. One of them said crooked bastard, and Singh, to his credit, actually has had enough, is turned around and goes face to face with them. Now, to not his credit, he does have a bodyguard. Right? So, you know, everything in balance. I'd be a little bit more butchy if I had a bodyguard. But each of these fucking supposedly like conservative convoy Polyev fans or whatever the fuck they are turn insta-faggot and no one claims credit. So somehow there's some mystery voice that said a corrupt bastard. And Singh ends up the winner in this. It's a shame. Why didn't someone say I said it? What are you going to do about it? Can you imagine? And then you'd have like a fist fight with a sitting leader of a party in Canada. You'd win. Even if he beat you up, you'd win. But instead, all these guys are like, no, it wasn't me. Oh, no, it's not me.
Who said it?
Somebody behind me said that.
Was it me? Was it you? No. You sure? If it was me, I'd admit it, buddy. Was it you or not? If it was me, I'd admit it. What'd you say then? I didn't say nothing. It wasn't me. It was a gentleman behind me, I guess. Who is it then? Point it out. I have no idea who it was, buddy. My word. You sure it's not you? No. 100%. You're a coward. You're not going to say it to my face. That's what's up. Say what? If I said something like that to you, I'd admit it.
All right. That's fucking like win for Singh. Fucking idiots.
What?
God, if only fewer people on the right were not retards. Jeez, like, even if I didn't say it, after I watched two guys say, oh no, it wasn't me, including the guy that actually totally said it, I'd say, I said it. And now what are you going to do about it? Because now you'd be setting off a national debate. But instead, we've just got video of Singh talking down the conservative right-wing asshole racists. You know? Unbelievable. Totally disappointing. Steph says, keep it going. What can we watch tonight that would be the most... yeah, well, I was kind of thinking about Metabiota, right? I was daring to think about Metabiota. And watch what didn't happen and should have happened. Oh, Rumble. I love you, but it's so hard to find anything. Metabiota, SuperSpreaders. And then I'll watch, as other channels come up first that have copied my video. Classic. Fucking classic. You know? Wow. Rumble. Great. Okay. Let's do it. Let's watch part 1 of Metabiota. Let's go. Grab your popcorn. Get it going. Get patriotic and find out what the CIA and the oligarchy have been doing in the Ukraine to us for the last 30 years. Let's go. God, I get so fucking... I convulse when I look at Hunter Biden now because I've actually had to go through the laptop. Have you looked at the laptop? It's sheer horror. Oh, he remembered where I was. Here we go.
Metabiota produces bioagents under diplomatic cover at secret labs, then sells pandemic insurance and trackers to help countries get ahead of what they are putting out. The company is part of the Pentagon's DRTA program as well as funded by Rosemont Seneca, run by Hunter Biden. Metabiota partners with industry and governments worldwide to build resilience to epidemics and protect global health. Metabiota Inc. was tapped by the Sierra Leonean government and the World Health Organization to help monitor the spread of the virus and support the response after Ebola was discovered circulating in neighboring Guinea in March 2014. Metabiota was contracted by the Pentagon to perform work for DTRA before and during the Ebola crisis in West Africa and was awarded $3.1 million for work in Sierra Leone, one of the countries at the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak. The Ebola outbreak was in 2014 to 2015. Biowarfare scientists using diplomatic cover test man-made viruses at Pentagon on biolabs in 25 countries across the world. These U.S. biolaboratories are funded by the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, or DTRA, under a $2.1 billion military program. Metabiota sponsored a viral surveillance for the PREDICT program 2014 to 2017. The 2017 study was supported by U.S. aid through the Emerging Pandemic Threats PREDICT project. Co-authors include Nathan Wolf at Metabiota, Peter Dasak and William Karish at EcoHealth Alliance and the PREDICT Consortium. The authors declared no conflicts. From Newsfront.
The USA is gaining total control over biological research facilities, researchers' facilities, researchers and stocks of deadly viruses in Ukraine. By a lucky chance, Metabiota, a subcontractor, is sharing the building with Black & Veatch in Kiev. This will allow the USA to control epidemiological situations in the region, get access to every development in the sphere, and manipulate population size while increasing American pharmaceutical corporations' profit.
Let's go look at Kiev back in 2018. Also a reminder of who was in charge of Ukraine for the Obama administration.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. Look, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Or how about we flash back to 2016 Ukraine? About the laboratories built in Ukraine in 2014 to 17. It seems that only Americans work there, and the Pentagon finances them. They counted 11 secret laboratories in Ukraine through which dangerous diseases spread. The official document indicates that U.S. military doctors are studying the use of pathogens of especially dangerous infections in different regions of Ukraine. This is confirmed by outbreaks of dangerous infectious diseases. This all occurred during the Obama administration, and VP Biden was the point person for Ukraine and China. Rosemont Seneca, an investment firm led by Hunter Biden, was a lead financial backer of Metabiota, a pandemic tracking and response firm that has partnered with Peter Daszak's EcoHealth Alliance and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Pilot Growth Management is currently the #1 investor in Metabiota. Neil Callahan is the co-founder, who is also the co-founder of Rosemont Seneca.
Neil Callahan, a name that appears many times on Hunter Biden's hard drive, also sits on Metabiota's board of advisors.
They were literally investing in a biolab company which houses and tracks deadly pathogens, then creates tracking and global virus outlooks and the marketing and pandemic insurance to go along with it. Here's to Metabiota and their ingenious, evil scheme. Who does this? Dr. Nathan Wolfe, the guy from the bat study and numerous other studies. Oh yeah. And another familiar face appears. Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm sure they just had dinner.
Fucking Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah. Just a coincidence.
Announced some partnerships and set itself up to become the innovator of pandemic insurance. Not many countries would understand that they needed it. Or did they?
So this asshole had massive investment in a company that said they can go out and find outbreaks the moment that they happen, but was also funding insurance against pandemics. So use us and we'll not only identify the great giant outbreak that's coming to scare the shit out of you, but we'll also sell you insurance against it. Fuck.
Munich Reinsurance Company, the largest global reinsurer, and in QTEL Inc., the strategic investor that accelerates the development of technologies to support the U.S. intelligence community, have signed strategic agreements with Metabiota. Working in collaboration, Marsh, Munich Re, and Metabiota developed Pathogener X. It uses triggers.
It's amazing to hear how far artificial intelligence voices have come since this. When was this? 1 year ago? Rumble? That's not right. Like this is at least 2 years old. Nowadays, it's getting really hard to tell. Now you can hear everything. Like my voice is AI. This voice is AI.
Strategic agreements with Metabiota. Working in collaboration, Marsh, Munich Re, and Metabiota developed Pathogener X. It uses triggers such as Metabiota's new Pathogen Sentiment Index, which the epidemic risk specialist launched recently.
I told you so, says Metabiota. You should have bought our pandemic insurance in 2018. The perfect setup for what's next. Reminder, They are housing and tracking deadly pathogens.
AI modeling driven by companies such as Blue Dot and Metabiota anticipated the coronavirus in China before it caught the world by surprise in late 2019 by both scouting its impact and its spread.
Of course they did. Now, everyone wants to partner with Metabiota and their expertise. Do you want to partner with Metabiota?
No.
Do you trust their expertise?
No, he's so gross. No,
This
I don't
might
want
be
to
your
partner with
last
him.
chance to choose.
Good beat though, eh? Good fucking symphonic hip hop. Love that shit for documentaries. So, then let's go immediately to part two. This is on YouTube, Metabiota 2, Pandemic Boogaloo. Let's go. God, we already gave up on YouTube so much, I didn't even change the file name. Oh, where's the music? Oh, all right, let's go. Turn off the mute. There we go. Get that 80s synthwave going.
These films take time to make. Support our efforts by joining us at locals.com. How did we get here?
Information systems will become an important focus of attack, particularly for U.S. enemies seeking to short-circuit sophisticated American forces, and advanced forms of biological warfare that can target specific genotypes may transform biological warfare from the realm of terror to a politically useful tool.
The CIA report delivered to Congress on Friday described the efforts of other countries to obtain weapons of mass destruction.
That problem, particularly biological weapons, over the coming decade is going to be an increasingly serious one. Some of them are mobile. They can move them. They're in vans. The United States is forced to go in and take out these capabilities.
From U.S.
Shout out.
October 14, 2001.
Housatonic Live.
Mass destruction, chemical, biological, nuclear, around the world. And you know what has no biological research facilities? Ukraine.
This is one of the most shocking articles I ever found.
Iraq says weapon sites were looted by professionals,
From Saddam Hussein's most important weapons installations.
including some with high precision equipment capable of making parts for nuclear arms. It appeared that a highly organized operation had pinpointed specific plants looking for valuable equipment first. They came in with cranes.
With cranes.
Now, Ukraine didn't necessarily have a massive facility. They had 150 service members in Iraq.
Okay, so Ukraine doesn't have any biological research facilities. Iraq had illegal biological research facilities. Iraq has its biological research facilities stolen by professional looters with cranes. Okay. Then the Ukrainian army withdraws from Iraq. Then, July 2005, guess what? Ukraine now has biological weapons.
Oh, what? I want to go back to the with cranes.
Making parts for nuclear arms. It appeared that a highly organized operation had pinpointed specific plants looking for valuable equipment first. They came in with cranes.
That's my favorite fucking quote from this entire fucking film that took me like, a week to make was this. They came in with cranes to Iraq. And you remember Iraq, they were gutting the museums, they were stealing gold, they were stealing ancient Sumerian artifacts. Meanwhile, the America was sending over billions in cash to bribe people and look the other way. And a team shows up that has that is raiding facilities that have capabilities to make nuclear weapons. And an organized team show up with cranes. And it turns out that Ukraine has troops there And then after this crane operation, Ukraine leaves, and then suddenly they have biological weapons. Come on, people. God, there's so much going on that we don't know about.
Now, Ukraine didn't necessarily have a massive facility. They had 150 service members in Iraq.
Okay, so Ukraine doesn't have any biological research facilities. Iraq had illegal biological research facilities. Iraq has its biological research facilities stolen by professional looters with cranes. Okay, then the Ukrainian army withdraws from Iraq. Then, July 2005, guess what? Ukraine now has biological weapons.
Whoa! Ukraine has a lot after that.
The United States and Ukraine signed a joint agreement Monday designed to stem the threat of bioterrorism by placing modern safeguards on deadly pathogens and other material dating from a Soviet-era biological weapons program that now could be vulnerable to theft. The freshly minted agreement that effectively expands the Nunn-Lugar Act of 1991 to allow the United States to help protect Ukraine's biological weapons. Under the agreement, the U.S. will assist Ukraine to upgrade the security for pathogens currently stored in various health laboratories throughout Ukraine.
In 2008, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, or DTRA, awarded Black & Veatch the first of its Biological Threat Reduction Integrating Contracts, or BTRIC. The 5-year contract has a collective ceiling of $4 billion among the contractors. DTRA awarded Black & Veatch as integrating contractor. The first BTRIC in Ukraine in 2008, which is a vital part of the Cooperative Threat Reduction and Biological Threat Reduction program of the DTRA. The implementing agents were 3 in number. The Ukraine Ministry of Health, Ukraine Academy of Agrarian Sciences, and Ukraine State Committee for Veterinary Medicine. In 2010, Black & Veatch commissioned Ukraine's first biosafety Level 3 laboratory.
Тріщина може бути спокійною. Відтепер в нашій області працює надсучасна діагностична лабораторія особливо небезпечних інфекцій. Це результат співпраці урядів України та Сполучених Штатів Америки.
This was the first BSL-3 laboratory commissioned for the DTRA, constructed by Black & Veatch to renovate a decades-old facility into a state-of-the-art diagnostics laboratory that will become the nexus of Ukraine's biosurveillance network. Ukrainian personnel were trained over 3 years from 2010 to provide Ukrainian scientists with the necessary resources to manage the BSL-3 laboratory and the Ukrainian biosurveillance system. You might remember from Metabiota 1 how Hunter Biden gained financially from Ukrainian biolabs. To recap, Hunter Biden invested in Metabiota, a pandemic tracking and response firm that collaborated on identifying and isolating deadly pathogens in Ukrainian laboratories. He invested through his private equity firm, Rosemont Seneca.
By a lucky chance, Metabiota, a subcontractor, is sharing the building with Black & Veatch in Kiev. This will allow the USA to control epidemiological situations in the region, get access to every development in the sphere, and manipulate population size while increasing American pharmaceutical corporations' profit.
Metabiota's David Mustra described how he managed a team of Ukrainians and served as the biosurveillance and research manager on the Defense Threat Reduction Agency's Cooperative Biological Engagement Program in Ukraine. Dr. Nathan Wolf, founder of Metabiota, and friend of Ghislaine Maxwell, partnered with the NIH, DoD, and EcoHealth Alliance as part of USAID's PREDICT program, which seeks to predict and prevent global emerging disease threats. Metabiota would then profit from selling pandemic insurance packages to national...
Controversial take. Pandemics don't exist. Pandemics are impossible. Worldwide pandemics of disease are impossible. Controversial take, my hot take of the night, discuss amongst yourselves.
Governments and corporations. In 2011, PBS did a special on the Metabiota CEO called Virus Hunters. In April 2014, Metabiota Vice President Mary Guthrie wrote a memo to Hunter outlining how they could assert Ukraine's cultural and economic independence from Russia, an unusual goal for a DoD contractor specializing in pandemic-causing pathogens. In another April 2014 email, Burisma executive Vadim Pozharsky wrote to Hunter, revealing that the then VP's son had pitched a science project involving Burisma and Metabiota. Burisma infamously paid Hunter $83,000 a month to sit on its board, and became the lightning rod for President Trump's impeachment when he called Ukraine's new president, Volodymyr Zelensky, in 2019, and suggested Ukraine's Attorney General investigate Burisma and Hunter Biden's shady dealings. But someone...
God, like all of a sudden my Adobe Creative Cloud subscription at $700 a year doesn't seem bad if you can get $83,000 a month. $83,000 a month. For being a clueless idiot on a board of directors at a oil company held by a Ukrainian mob boss.
Had already thought of the previous pesky Ukrainian attorney, suggested Ukraine's Attorney General investigate Burisma and Hunter Biden's shady dealings. But someone had already thought of the previous pesky Ukrainian Attorney General.
Guys, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Hunter was not the only person of interest involved in Ukrainian biolabs. Now we're really gonna blow your mind. Remember the leaked phone call from Biden to Poroshenko in November 2016.
This is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in a position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the details.
So what exactly was Biden so concerned about Trump finding in Ukraine? Something that would require him to get sophisticated enough to find out.
So anything you can do to push the Privat Bank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security.
Biden is openly admitting to a scheme to hide something from Trump with Poroshenko, then threatens his life. It's quite obvious Biden was covering up criminality in Ukraine, and he was extremely concerned about Trump looking around. He didn't want Trump to follow where all the funding was going because he would uncover the biological research, amongst other things. In fact, his actual boss at Burisma Holdings, the Ukrainian oligarch Ihor Kolomoisky, was also the boss of Volodymyr Zelensky before he became Ukraine's president. What a coincidence, right? Zelensky achieved national fame portraying a president on a hit television sitcom called Servant of the People, which was broadcast on a TV network owned by Ihor Kolomoisky. Kolomoisky provided security, lawyers, and vehicles for Zelensky's presidential campaign. The Pandora Papers revealed that Volodymyr Zelensky was the beneficiary of a web of offshore firms created in 2012. That same year, Zelensky's production company entered into a deal with Kolomoisky's media group and received $41 million from Kolomoisky's private bank. A 2012 study of Burisma Holdings by ANTAC, a nonprofit funded by George Soros and the State Department, found that the owner of Burisma Holdings was Ihor Kolomoisky, meaning Hunter Biden and Volodymyr Zelensky worked for the same Ukrainian oligarch. Russian media, quoted in State Department emails, referred to Burisma as part of Kolomoisky's financial empire. Kolomoisky had a controlling interest in Burisma Holdings. Kolomoisky also funded the Azov, Adar, and Dnipro battalions accused of shelling children in war crimes in eastern Ukraine. Human Rights Watch reported that Kolomoisky's battalions indiscriminately used unguided rockets and cluster munitions on populated areas in Donetsk. On text messages found in the Biden laptop, Hunter asks Hallie if she believed that he had children burned alive in Donetsk or children killed in Donetsk, Ukraine, likely referring to reports of Kolomoisky's war crimes in eastern Ukraine. In 2020, the Department of Justice accused Ihor Kolomoisky of laundering $4 billion from his private bank into American properties, meaning Joe Biden sent Ukraine $100 billion with Zelensky, Kolomoisky, and his son Hunter all tied to money laundering and offshore banking in Ukraine. Now, what does this all prove? That remains to be seen. Proof will come only when reporting and investigations are finally allowed to proceed, without collusion between government and media to censor and silence us. Until then, we must ask, how can one man, the sitting president's son, be found to be at the center of every single major world event of the modern age? COVID-19, the Ukraine war, pandemic research and insurance. It's all just a coincidence, right?
Yo, you guys caught me on a bio break. I thought I had like another minute on that. So sorry about that. And that's all I got for you, people. Sorry. Sorry that I'm just so damn interesting. And we'll do another stream shortly. Love you all, and let's spread it.
We will continue to support Ukraine becoming a NATO member.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches in black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's destruction.
We will stand up every day and every way in favor of the export that the Ukrainian government has asked for.
Today I'm announcing more military assistance.
Pigs have the power and God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees the war pigs crawling, begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings.
Our role right from the outset of the Ukraine war should have been that of a peacemaker.
We want you to be the super spreaders of truth.
could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.